The after county government day, yeah. First Wednesday is county government day, after that. Okay, good. Okay, great, thanks.
It is 3 p.m., so I will call the March Finance Committee meeting to order. Do we have any public comment? Move on to approval of the minutes of the February 22nd meeting. John, Phil made the motion, second by
Tony made the
Tony did, okay. My hearing isn't very good. Any additions, corrections? I did have a couple of questions on it, where we say revetment, leave to county board, what did that mean?
I think you meant bereavement.
It's,
Under administrative coordinator. Yep. HHS employee.
Oh, yeah.
Bereavement leave to.
Right, yeah, let's just go. It's supposed to be bereavement. It was the bereavement leave policy.
oh, okay. And then it said jail to county board, what did that mean?
And the administrative coordinator.
That was on
I think that was maybe the jail presentation that happened at the last county board meeting.
okay. I just wondered, any other questions or corrections to the minutes? Not, all those in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
That's approving as amended with
Yes.
just the typo.
Yep.
Motion carries. So, well, we'll start with our agenda here. First one is Wisconsin statute 75-169, sale of tax delinquent real estate, parcel number. I think that's, I read your
You read that?
explanation on
Yep,
that.
is that,
Lake McGee, I remember
Yep,
that parcel.
yeah, so it was,
So the lake is down, is there, what if it comes back up?
well, that's her problem then. Whoever buys it. So, she has already offered to buy it. But, we do have to go through the process.
Yeah.
And I figure we could just, it was on a do not sell list because it was underwater. And like I said, in there, Lake McGee has, there was a dam there. That dam is gone, and so it's, I'm assuming it's wet. It looks like it on the
Dam
aerial.
is gone?
I guess, I don't know.
Oh,
the
the
dam there.
we've repaired that.
Yeah.
So that's maybe 15
On Deer
years.
Tail, well, this was like 1955, so.
planks to do some lower.
Yeah, we did some work on that. So,
Put that whole new day.
so I guess I wondered, why, who's mucking with the water level?
That's what I was just told, I don't know, that there was a dam there and it's mostly gone, so it must be just something
That's,
dilapidated.
that is kinda strange, because that's, I know the county spent some money up there
Oh, okay,
in that dam.
I don't know.
Why it was let go.
It wasn't through forestry, was it? That through forestry?
They came through forestry,
I
yeah.
think it was.
Yep.
So I think we used some, power line funds on that money.
Isn't forestry still in charge of it then?
I think so.
Forestry sent it here, the owner sent it to be added to the tax delinquent real estate. Because it's not like it's part of the forest, what do you call that, where we log the forest or anything, so it's not in the forest land,
Forest cropland.
cropland. Yeah. It's landlocked.
It's landlocked, she's
So-
an adjacent owner.
So it's the landlocked piece, we just sell it to the owner, but we have to follow the
We have
procedure to put it out for
right.
bid, so.
Well,
If we get
apparently
it,
there's no intention of repairing that dam? No? You don't, Phil?
Well, he was all for selling it, so.
not that I'm aware of.
All I know is it doesn't do the county any landlocked.
Yep, but wasn't that, some things on, something on there about the wild rice?
Boy,
And then there was
I don't
wild
know
rice
either.
and
I've
then
not heard
we
anything
have Ducks
mention of that at all.
Unlimited,
Yeah.
put some money into that thing.
Yeah, there was a deal, there was all involved in that, I know that.
I'll call Jared and see, or I'll text him and see if he can come down and.
so how long ago was that?
Oh.
1956?
15 years, probably 15 years or more.
Yeah.
Or
You could-
maybe
you could
Nick,
remember back
maybe
then.
Nick knows something, maybe Nick is the one that watched it. Nick would be the one, I think, maybe that might know something about that, more than forestry. Wasn't he talking about all the rice beds and stuff they're
Johnny's there.
implementing?
Yeah.
Well, supposedly you have to have a permit to get harvest rice there. Somebody must be controlling it.
That was swamp, pretty much.
Jared's coming down, so.
Do you know anything about the dam?
I'd have to look and see if it's part, cause actually Nick and I are in charge of the dams now, not forestry, and I'll have to see if it's part of the list that we have to monitor and maintain. The last time I was down there was a couple of years ago and looked at it, all it was basically looked like a rock overflow. I couldn't tell if there was anything underneath that, but I know a certain landowner over there was upset about people using that landing, cause he said kids were partying down there and all that. And he said the people coming in here were trespassing through his property and got kind of dicey, I guess, but, so I don't know if there was some tampering there, but, I haven't been in there for a couple of years. The last time I was there, I mean, everything was kosher. So, but I can have Nick look. He'll be back tomorrow, but he can look and see if it's part of our dams that gotta get like
There's
monitored.
some water there.
There was always like basically a lake there, yeah. So. But it'd have to be on the list if it's something that we monitor and
We
maintain.
would have built that whole dike.
Jared, we were just talking about that, parcel of land there on what, was it Lake McKee? And, unless I'm getting the lakes mixed up, but it seems like some years back, the county repaired that dam and well, I think we had some funding like from Ducks Unlimited and a few other groups. And so we restored that, but apparently it's gone now, or I don't know.
There is a dam there, yep, there's a dam, but it's not anywhere near as high as it was way back when.
Is that one that's on the list for like monitoring and maintaining? Kinda like Lee Lake, and even what's that one up off
I don't think, no,
Betty Lake Road?
no, I don't think it's on the dam list.
I didn't know if it was.
It might be. It's a lot lower than it was in the fifties when it was initially put. It's only a couple, I don't know, I haven't seen it for a few years, but it's like a couple foot concrete thing.
So in your estimation, it's okay to sell that, there's no movement to repair that dam or anything else in there?
Not that I've heard of, certainly not by the county.
So I guess it's gonna be a couple months before you come up
Yeah.
anyways, so if you guys find something, like John, if you.
Yeah, we can go look at it
If
and,
you see a reason, we got time to stop it, but otherwise, you need a motion to add it to the list pending, if nothing goofy comes up.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell till like October,
What's your time frame on this? For
October.
October.
October, so, yeah, why don't, maybe you guys could look that over and, you know, give your opinions on that, see what,
Do we have to
if you're
own,
aware of
do
any
we have to own the
movement,
40 to maintain that dam, or would that be her responsibility then?
Is this the land right at the dam?
No, it's, the dam is on the property owned by some
What are you Patty doing?
Yeah, 4-H.
Oh, boy.
4-H club,
Yeah, it's a 4-H club, I know that.
So I think we'll just put this on hold then,
Yeah,
and,
that's fine.
you know, you've got time, so, and then these guys can kinda look it over and give their opinion.
Yeah, we'll get her figured out.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, approve the budget line item transfer.
Since Vern's here, do you wanna do the treasurer's report, right?
We could, yeah, I did find,
What?
on your
Make
sales
all
tax-
kinds of errors going on.
On your sales tax report, you should have 229,000, you got 100.
That's for this year. I mean, that's for
One month.
December.
That was for one
Yeah,
month.
that was just for December.
Yeah, it was donated to them, they don't.
December, we had 100.
Are you looking at my sales tax report?
Yeah, you look at your report,
December, we had 129, you say 229.
Oh,
Written here.
I think you just moved over a line. You got 22 and, or no, you got.
yeah, where did I get that number from? Let me look up that number again on my end. But yeah,
That 120 should be 229.
Oh, for last year.
Oh, no, this one is what he's saying. Okay, let me just look at that, last week.
I might have entered it wrong. I just looked it up this morning and I got the wrong line.
No, Brenna's number's right. I don't know where mine came from. It might come from Ryan's
I
report.
thought it was a lot.
Yeah, I think Brenna's is right. I gotta look and see where mine came from, cause
'Cause that's, you had that on
we
your.
got a preliminary report from Ryan Della, and I might have pulled it from that. So, I'll update mine. Brenna's is the one that's correct.
Okay.
But, I wanted to point out that, Verna brought in over $1 million in interest revenue in 2023.
Growing those money trees.
I think we only budgeted about 350.
Not even.
100,000
Jeez.
No, we raised that.
for 2023. I think that's all we
Oh,
had.
maybe so.
Yeah. You never know.
But those interest rates at the end, you know, they
Yeah,
went from
it was a
0.22%
crazy, yeah, that was a
up to
crazy year for sure.
4% for that pool. That was crazy, so, yeah, good job, Verna.
Yeah, it's all me.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta take it when interest goes the other way, so take it when it goes
Yeah,
up.
that's true, that's true. Could barely make
You did,
100,000.
you did a really good job monitoring CDs for better interest rates and rolling stuff over and. You gotta take some credit for it.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? we're
Alright,
satisfied,
great,
bringing in interest money, so that's good.
alright, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have Health and Human Services, ADRC Information
no.
Assistance. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, approved budget line item transfer from University Extension, contract service to travel expense for interim position. Apparently, we're without an agent at the time, and we're looking at,
Yes, so Lori's here to present on that.
Yeah, so I can just, let you know what we talked about during our committee meeting. We are without a 4-H educator right now, have been since, November. And so, what is being proposed and what the committee approved was to take, the savings that you have in your, contract line for 2024, so you've been without an educator now for January and February and part of March, and use those funds, so a budget neutral, decision, to, use those funds to help pay for, an interim educator who would be coming, from St. Croix County, traveling over here 2 to 3 days a week, for continuing to serve, Rusk County for that, in the interim. And the educator from Sawyer County who, regularly works with Rusk County for, camps and some other opportunities, to be able to pay her, to travel here as well, if we need her to be in the office space. And, so that's the idea, is that it's a budget neutral thing. We just need money to move into the travel instead of expenses, so that we would have funds available to, pay for that.
and you're anticipating how long the process?
Hopefully not real long. The position should post tomorrow. And then, what we hope is that, it will be posted until April 7th, and then we will be, screening and interviewing, hoping to get someone on board by the 1st of June. But I also, once there is an educator on board, even if the stars align and we get someone in that quickly, also extending the time of Eileen Van Dyke is extending her time and Donna's time a little bit to transition and pass the torch, and not just say, okay, here's the new educator, go for it, but to onboard them, that way. So, Eileen really would like to be done, in July if possible, and so it's really just for a few months. So I think it was up to $6,400 or something like that was what the committee approved. And that's kind of the savings from your contract for January and February.
When did the previous, oh, sorry, Randy, go ahead.
We've done this before with that same lady, some years back.
Yeah, well, I think the difference is we didn't pay it.
I thought we did.
I thought that if the state paid it then.
So I think the, our system, right, the expense report system from Extension paid for it, but the county provided the funds for it. You know what I mean? Like, the systems were different to do that, back then. And so, we looked at lots of options, to be quite honest. We looked at, should we just provide a stipend and say this is it? Or should we do a hiring bonus? Or what are our options in order to provide a little bit more funding for her travel? And, it is, I think it's more, financially responsible to pay the exact cost, not fund a stipend or something that she may not even use. And so that's when we said, well, let's go back and track this through the county instead of the university billing you for something that may not even be used.
Jim?
When did the past, person from Extension leave? That wasn't the end of the year, was it? I thought that was last fall.
November 15th maybe was her last day in the office.
Okay, did we pay for those services through the end of the year?
No.
Okay,
We were not
we didn't
invoiced.
pay for when
We
she
were
was
not
in here.
invoiced past mid-November. And so that was the savings from 2023.
to remember from your letter here, how many days, 2 to 3 days a week?
Yep.
And what will this position then cost the county for their share, being we're not having a full-time, we're only having in a sense a part-time?
Yep, your invoice would be prorated based on the amount of time that, both Eileen and Donna provide. So we're looking at Donna providing up to 20%, so a day a week, and then Eileen 50%, so 2 to 3 days a week. And so when I, create the or work with our financial office to create the invoice, all of that is formulated into that. So you won't be paying for a full-time educator when you don't have a full-time educator.
It sounds like possibly from your letter here that the state still having, or extension's still having some issues as to how they're gonna fill some of these positions. I mean, if you don't have a workaround as for travel expenses like you did in the past, if I understood this correctly, it sounds like this program going forward is still gonna be a little bit up in the air. Is that fair to say?
I
Cause
don't
we've
think
had a lot of people fill this position in the last few years.
Yeah.
I've probably talked about this position here more than any other one here maybe. And that's really disheartening, Lori.
How many, different people have filled the position in the last, say, 4 years?
In the last 4 years, Mary, Brianne, and Jenna. And Alyssa was a summer help. It is disheartening.
So about one a year, and that's not counting the time that we went in between without someone. However long that was, which we don't have time to figure that out. I know you're just the person that has to come and take this from us, but I'm a little disappointed in the state with what they're doing with this program. To be blunt about it, so.
Any other solutions?
What happens if we don't approve this?
If we what?
What happens if we don't approve it?
Then we just wait until the person's hired.
Full-time's hired.
Then we'd wait till the full-time person's hired. This was more of a solution to get a temporary person to fill in the gap with us.
There's a temporary person hired, I mean, there's someone, Eileen Van Dyke has already been hired, we already met with her. Whether or not she comes here, or if she does it virtually, is what's up at this point. I mean, I'm trying to get someone here to help in this interim period. We have someone who is helping interim, but she won't be here in this county if there's no travel funds approved for her.
So other counties are paying this also, that she's going to outside of the one she lives in?
She's not going to any other counties. I specifically hired her to come back in.
Okay, so she's not doing another day somewhere else, or, okay, I
She's
misunderstood.
retired and is very
I
passionate
thought
about
maybe she was
4-H.
filling in a couple spots for you, I misunderstood, so.
We asked her if she would be willing, cause she's done it before, 2015.
So your committee, the extension committee did pass this?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Okay,
Fill a gap there somewhere.
well, I agree, but this is, I hope that this gets fixed going forward, or we address this somewhere.
I don't know if that's the answer, but.
Well, it's better than nothing, and people still need someone to contact if we're gonna have 4-H and stuff in this county.
This is a 4-H position, right?
Yes.
My understanding is.
You'll have better success with your new educator if there's somebody to clean up some of the messes and to onboard. And if you look at what extension gave back last year, I believe it was over $7,000, and you have you'll have savings this year as well. So from a support staff, it would be great to have Eileen back. She was phenomenal when she was here, and just with new people coming and going, having somebody show them the ropes is very essential. And I think we've learned that virtual does not work well in Rusk County, so in person is the best thing for Rusk County.
So you're thinking if we, have this person that is there when the new person comes on, that instead of the new person coming in and not being able to swim off the bat, that may set them up more for success.
Right, cause a month later after they start, it's summer camp. Boom, there's, you know, it's,
And that's why we're asking Donna as well, because Donna
Mhm.
works to do summer camp.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hear you say there are concerns, right? Like we have not, for lots of reasons, educators haven't stayed here for long term. We know that. And so this,
You
is,
know why, like, do they say, or do you get feedback and that kind of stuff?
I know what people share. I don't know if that's the end of it, but I know what people share. And I met with Ashley's about that. I met, you know,
Are
like.
you
trying to-
able to share that with us, or is that more like confidential that you can share?
Confidential. And all of that, as well as visioning sessions, as well, you know, all of these conversations that we've been having to align expectations and move forward is what was the groundwork for saying, okay, let's try this option. Let's try getting Eileen, who's been here before, is very familiar with Rusk County. Let's try Donna, who's lives in Winter and is a public library director, as well as the educator over in Sawyer County. These are two well-known, established, knowledgeable, respected, know the community people. Let's get them on board. Let's do some of that work so that they can help kind of lay the groundwork of some of the other things that need to get taken care of, so that the new educator coming in has, is set up for success as much as we know, as much as we can. We've looked at aligning, roles and responsibilities between leaders and, educators and support staff, you know, looking at all of that. And that's, after looking at all of that and spending some time doing that, is why we came up with this idea of, it's better than anything else that we've tried during the interim period that I'm aware of. No promises, but I know that Eileen has done good work. I know that I've heard from Charmaine in the past who has worked with her, like this is the best idea that we have. And, if anything's gonna work, I think it's gonna be this one.
Well, it sounds like it's temporary and we have the money to cover it, so. Well, I'll get us up dead center here. I'll make the motion to approve the request from extension. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Phil. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Apparently, the motion carries, so.
Thank you.
We'll go from there.
She'll be here next week.
Okay, we will move on to now to number 3, Health and Human Services, ADRC Information and Assistance Position Creation.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming to work. What's that? Yeah, I've seen you today. Yeah, exactly. So, Jeremy Jacobs, Human Services, second floor. This is my favorite Rusk County Finance Committee, and so I'm very excited to be done with it.
That's why you can.
100%. So our ask today, what I put in front of you is the fiscal impact of our ask. We've been to Human Services Board, we've been to Personnel. Our ask is to create an information and assistance position within our Aging Disability Resource Center. That being said, we have the Carlson Detman completed, we have the wage scale, all of those types of things. The job description is already existing. We already have a person that is doing this job currently. We need another one, okay? So we've given the information to all the committees, so we're here. I have 2 of the best ADRC directors in the state, okay? Kathy Walters from Rusk County and Jen Jaco from Barron County. If you remember way back, we used to be the Tri-County. We're now 2-county consortium for our ADRC services. We share some positions and those kinds of things. They have some information for you as to what this position does, and then I'll share the fiscal impact with you. So thank you for having us. Ladies, it's all yours.
So Jeremy's asked us to kind of explain what is an information assistance specialist, and he asked me to keep it to 2 minutes, so if you know me and I'm passionate about something, I can go longer, but I will try not to. So an information assistance specialist, basically in the ADRC, anybody that comes in 17 and a half until death, that person could be seen by the information assistance specialist for any of their needs that the ADRC covers. So when somebody comes in, they're not sure what they're looking for, they're always gonna get that person. Then from there, they make decisions around what's available for resources. We share those resources to them, and then they help them to the next steps. And sometimes it's as easy as if it's a private pay, here's your resource for in-home care. Sometimes it's more in depth. And then we have to go into what's called options counseling. That's a big chunk of their time. We'll be doing that, going through these different steps and helping them. It's not case management, but it is going through these steps of showing them what they can do and how to do it, and walking through that, and then referring to the other people in the ADRC in some cases for Medicare or Medicaid, whatever it might be that they need to get done that way. And then if it ends up being a long-term care and not a private pay option, then it would also be the functional screen that is done. The ADRC in that particular role, the INA, is we are like, I think they call it the gateway for that program. You have to go through here to get into long-term care. So if you can imagine, you have one person who works 38.75 hours a week. In 5 years, her people that she's dealing with has gone up 78% in 5 years. The amount of people that she's helping more, one person. And now we have more people that are needing screens because we have an elderly population, just to see if they need it. Even people that are not going on to programming, if you are over a certain, if you're over $100,000, you might want to screen to be able to save more of your money, so more can save your spouse versus the other. This is where I can get into the weeds, but there are other reasons for this. So that person is extremely busy, and we're not staying in compliance because you just can't, one person cannot do it all. So the great news is that the state has said to us, we see the problem. They also have changed the role of that person, added more to their job than there used to be. And they said, we see the problem, we're giving you more money for it. Okay? So, and since they did, this is going forward, we'll have this new money that you have, the money's in front of you. I don't want to quote dollars and amounts to you without them in front of me, but with that. And then we also get federal drawdown by the different categories that the person works in. And not every category that an INA works in is a drawdownable one, but most of them are. Like some of our other positions have much lower rates or percentages. And so I think Jeremy handed you the one that had the percentages of what the drawdown is. Our average across the ADRC is normally around 38, but an INA alone is like 35 to sometimes 37% drawdown. So beyond that money, we get that much more to that percentage. Okay? So do you have any questions about what an INA does or what their definition is? Because I'm trying to stay in my 2 minutes. I think I kind of did it. But do you have any questions about that part?
He always goes over anyhow, so don't worry about it.
All right, well, I'm trying to be conscientious of your time. And then,
So the state's gonna pay the full wages of this?
they're gonna pay, so if you have the, can I see what you
If you point out to which part to look at here.
Yeah, okay.
I'll roll through that for you.
Okay,
If you
yeah,
want.
okay. I'll let them roll through it.
Yeah, no troubles.
And then if not, I'll explain it, okay?
Sounds good. Or you can correct them.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's what both of them will do is correct.
We're pretty good at that.
But Jen, go ahead.
Yeah.
You have something specific that you wanted to say?
No, did a great job. Yeah, if you have questions about the position, I will say also in Barron County, we are also adding the same position, seeing the same thing. You know, the aging population in both counties, 30-40% of our county is 60 and older, and so we too in Barron County are seeing, you know, that customer contact increase by way over 50%, and it's higher in Rusk County. So we both feel that position within both locations is needed, an added position to meet the need.
Super good. Thank you, guys. Super good. Stay there because you'll correct me. Okay. So on the sheet that I handed out to you, what Kathy said is 100% true. The state has allocated additional funds to ADRCs throughout the state. And so you'll see on the top where it says kind of the Barron's suggestion. The reason that the Rusk County allocation is $103,296 on that second line versus per the state is there's a $40,000 allocation that Rusk County gets that is forwarded back to Barron County because we share a dementia care specialist. And so that has been something that is so dang key for both of our counties. And so Barron holds the burden of that position. And so the $40,000 that we get, we turn it over to them because they're carrying that position, but that position reaches into Rusk County to serve the population. And so that's the difference in that $40,000. The second column, you'll see the increase. Our increase impact is $73,456 for a total allocation of $176,752. What Kathy was talking about is this algorithm math problem called Medicaid drawdown, okay? And what that means is this number that's there, the 28,156, is a really conservative baseline. Yeah, a very conservative baseline projection that when the INA is working with a customer, they can check boxes as to the content of what they're talking about, and they can draw down Medicaid. That's money that comes back to our county to contribute towards the position, okay? If you go over to the right, you'll see where it's, this position that we're talking about is a grade 10 on the Carlson-Detman. It's $23.30 an hour, and you see the fiscal impact, $77,239.68, give or take, depending on when the county or when the position starts, if that's the case. And we're basing that on a 2,030 25 hours in the year. And so again, some of those things fluctuate. That's a full health insurance package, workman's comp, all the roll-ups, all those types of things. Okay? Okay? So it's my responsibility to be fully transparent with you. And so the other side of this coin is that over the last 6 years, our average has been $51,000 in levy allocations to balance the ADRC budget alone, okay? Some more, some less, but it is $51,000. I, as the Human Services Director, believe that there will always be levy in that program, and it'll always ebb and flow. And it's just the way the program is built. It's the responsibility of our department and the population that we have to serve. So as these guys are passionate about what they're doing and our population is getting older, we have a responsibility to serve that population and let them know what their options are. And so that being said, I fully back this this opportunity. We have not seen an increase in ADRC funding, I think as long as I've been alive. And so that's not that old, but it's been a long time since there's been any funding. And so, so that being said, I'm asking that this be sent to full county board as a resolution to create this INA position in our ADRC in Rusk County. What questions do you have?
So the 77,239 is what, a levy?
No, this is the total
Okay.
cost for an INA.
Yep, okay.
And then this is what we're predicting on the low end that we will have with that new allocation, additional than we had before. That $101,000, I can't read off the number, it was $612. And then, and like as I was showing you on this one, this is at that 46%, that would be $135,000.
So that would cover the whole.
100%, plus the levy.
And plus the levy.
So-
If we put the position, without it, we could cover the levy, we'd have like 13,000 left, and we would have the needs met for our people. So.
Okay, so, well, Kathy's slides that right in there. She's 100%.
Well, I'm
100% right.
Yeah.
If you know me at all, I'm blunt, right? And I think you guys appreciate that, cause you are too, right? So, I'm passionate about what I do, Jen's passionate about what she does, we care about the people in our county, we want to see them served, and I don't want my staff burned out to the point, every time, like now, I'm covering phone calls for this position. And I'll do it happily, you know I will, but they're not getting the service that they deserve. We can't do it, we need more people, and that's, I'll shut up.
No, that's good, Kathy, that's good. Passion is a super good thing, we appreciate that. The key thing, I think, Phil, is that, conservatively, that 101,612 is a conservative number with that Medicaid drawdown. I'm not gonna sit here and promise you anything, but we feel that if the person hired does the same as Angie does, we're gonna be in a great position. Because they're gonna serve that population, they're just as passionate.
And that's why I brought up the point about where they have to time report at. Almost all of the areas that they spend their time in are drawdownable, but at the very least, they're gonna have some, you know, that should be in that 38%. Can't promise that either, but it should be at least.
Can't promise it, but, you know, our fiscal, person in Marion County, look back the last 5 years, and their drawdown is, averages well over what our conservative number is here, so we feel really comfortable that that number would likely be higher.
I think I might.
And the ADRC allocation going forward,
If you guys wanna see that.
the ADRC allocation going forward is going to be this increase. And again, there hasn't been increases, just like we saw in children and family, there's been no increase in children and family service base until they said, hey, there's $20 million there spread between, ADRC did the same thing, was it 5 million? I think it was $5 million that will be in the budgets going forward. So,
It's not helpful.
any more questions?
Anybody else wants to see it, you should.
No, so it's gonna be, you know, as far as county's asking, trying to get the right funding source would be grant and Medicaid, so no. Correct?
Correct, and again, based on the numbers, there should be zero increase to any levy that I'm talking about, but I'm very honest about the fact that we've had levy in the ADRC, just like we have in every other one of my programs. And so, we don't see that increasing because of this at all. In fact, it should help us reduce our levy investment.
Okay, anybody else have any other questions for ladies or Jeremy? If not, I guess the motion would be in order to send the request to the county board for approval.
That's what we're asking, please and thank you.
I'll make the.
Got a motion by Tony, second by John. Any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries, so.
Thank you so much.
1884, raise the roof, good job, thank you. Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you very much. Good job.
If it wasn't for them, this wouldn't have flew.
I knew it. I'm glad someone said it.
Okay, we'll move on here, there's no objection, we'll skip over number 4 here, we'll come back to it, but we'll take up 5, 6, and 7.
Have a good day, sir.
Number 5 is the update on Fairgrounds East Wing Barn project and consideration of funding allocation.
Alright, so we just got done, we kinda got a plan set to replace East Wing. I'm pretty sure you guys know the issue with it. We're not allowed to use it for the fair. Right now, as of this year, we already outgrew where we moved our goats and sheep last year, so we need to put basically the goats somewhere, this year. We're running out of room, so we got more kids signed up for the fair than we did even last year. The East Wing is not safe to use, so we came up with a plan to basically replace it how it is with a concrete floor, to be used for housing animals. We did RFPs and stuff, but I guess we were thinking using ARPA funds, but they're gone. So we're not quite back to square one. We do have a plan. We're just wondering where funding's gonna come from. And we got, the fair is agreed to pay 25% of the cost. Livestock committee has agreed to pay 25% up to $17,000, which puts us in the ballpark around, with what livestock committed to, about 70,000. We had one quote coming into this for just over 65,000. So,
With concrete,
with concrete, yeah.
and how big are we looking at?
30 by 60, exactly what's there right now.
Okay,
So, and then just open 2 sliding doors, one on the south side though, and one on the east end. 10-foot sliding doors, 10-foot sidewalls.
Complete rebuild of that wing?
Yes. Yep, it'd be a tear down and complete rebuild. The only thing we're not doing is putting back in, like, the concrete footings. We'll go with a haunch, more so on like a floating slab. Because footings is a lot more concrete and actually it's a lot more costly. So, we're gonna do just a 12 by 16 haunch on the outside of it.
is that gonna cover what might have to be done there to the east side of the round barn?
Yes.
Redo that?
To take that off and reattach. We're kinda, there's been a couple ideas, either reattach kinda how it is, but going with a floating slab, what you could do is just offset your building about a foot and create like a little alley, and you would attach it with, for lack of better terms, kinda like it's like a rubber seal in between the two, just so it can flex if that slab and building would move. Cause if you reattach and you get movement out of your building and it's attached to the round barn, it's gonna affect the structure of that, so. But it would kinda come down to the contractor with that, so.
Do we know how much has been spent on fairgrounds outside of budget in the last 2 years? Counting ARPA and anything else we've added in there?
I don't have those numbers, no.
Jamie, do you happen to have that?
Sorry.
Do you know how much money we've spent or spent and allocated for fairgrounds outside of just the fairgrounds budget? With ARPA or anything else that we've added?
I'd be able to pull the ARPA's dollar amounts pretty easily. I don't have the other ones at my fingertips here.
Handstand. That was over a million.
The grandstands and then the concrete and the multi-purpose. Was it 2?
And the state approved plan.
And the state approved plans for the bathrooms.
And log cabin.
And log.
And the, okay, so there's the fairground sound system for $11,664.75.
What's that?
The log pavilion.
Not the sound system, no.
This plans for the state approved bathroom, exterior. Oh, sorry, the pavilion was not. Exterior work on the log building. Rewrote electrical at the fairgrounds, what? Okay, well, it was allocated. The concrete, the multi-purpose building.
Allocated, but we did. So that's project's being canceled.
The reroute of electrical.
Yeah, that was the,
There was something done out there in the last 2 years, much electrical work.
We
Through like three different,
upgraded some stuff.
three different
Kinda
upgrades, yeah.
Put more juice to some of the panels.
Yeah, that, the one I'm talking about was
Campers too, right?
$5,000.
But that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
The reroute fairgrounds electrical was $5,000 approved on November 11th, 2022.
it's a box started on
That
fire.
went through property then, so it would've gone to, kind of right after that. So $444,664.75.
What was that, 440?
$444,664.75.
That was the total we spent?
That's what's been allocated for fairgrounds projects from ARPA.
Where did the 1.2 million come from? Grandstand.
It wasn't 1.2 million, it was,
250,000.
yeah, 245.
45, I thought it was over that.
It was over $1 million if you're gonna tear it out and put up new.
We still do have some LAPCAP funding available, the local area travel assistance consistency fund. There's still $99,000 in that project allocation, or the funding allocation.
There might be more more money coming from that one too?
Not that I'm aware of.
Cause it's an ongoing congressional appropriation, but they don't do it all the time.
It's, yeah, we got 50,000 in 22 and 50,000 in 23. Cause we were notified in 22 that we were getting an award for 100,000 and that it'd be split between the years.
And that money, I believe, can be spent any way you want. So that's one option. General fund is the other, but I'm not sure just where we stand with the general fund at this point.
John, tell them how much we're actually
What's that?
requesting. Tell them how much we actually need in addition to the fair and livestock.
What's the money we're
Cause they're asking for
Oh, we're asking about 70,000 total. But it
No,
would be about
minus.
35
Yes.
35,000 is
35
what
to
they're asking
40,000.
from the county for.
from the county, yeah.
Well, like Jamie said, that 99,000, we sent $1,000 back to the WCA, and then they were going to be, getting a group started to, advocate, I guess, for counties and for tribal nations.
Where's the funding coming from? Cause I see the other thing we have on here is the restrooms, that, we ever solidify that funding for that?
I think that's got a big price tag on it.
Right, but I mean, we've got two things on here and we have no ARPA funds left to use on either one.
How much money's left in the fund for, the wind down and the rent that we had from the hospital? Where's that curtain stand at?
Just did an entry yesterday to. So the wind down funds, shoot, it's not listed yet.
Excuse me.
So we ended up, I did an entry yesterday to record revenue for just under $1.9 million, of those wind down funds. When the restrictions were released, that doesn't include the cost of demolition, asbestos abatement, or the purchase of the clinic, so then, that money is essentially spent with that. But then, from the hospital rent money, we had about 3.4 million from that.
So, how much was in the wind down left?
Just under 1.9.
But that's before we pay the bill for demo, is it?
Because the restrictions were, released at that point, so,
So what,
separated.
the demo was left for 1 million plus, I think,
Yeah, so for 2023, we spent, $510,190.22. And so far in 2024, $347,906.03, but I believe we just got another invoice from Haas as
And
well.
that'll come out of the wind down,
Well, there's no wind down anymore.
or the funds that were in, as far as your calculation about the 1.9 million, it come out of that.
I mean, it could.
Basically, that's
That money's now in the hospital rent fund.
Yeah, which really that hospital rent fund,
So is that
that money
three-
is now,
Is that 3.4 million down in the 1.9?
No.
So we have 3.4 plus 1.9 in the
Yeah.
That's
hospital.
1.9, but that's before we pay Haas.
right.
When we take, say, roughly 1 million or $1,000,001 out of line down, you got 800,000 left. Of line down plus 3.4. Is that correct?
Yep, and then there was the clinic building purchase too.
Well, but minus the purchase of the clinic bill. But how much of the line down was used for the clinic?
Essentially, a couple $100,000.
We thought it'd be more than that.
What was
It's just under $1 million.
ARPA had $1 million or so left, right? Not quite.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know which clinic building you were talking about. So yeah, so that'll be, so there was about 200,000 used for the old Marshfield Clinic building, and then it'll probably be between about 650,000 or so for the Purdue Clinic building.
Out of the total funds that what I'm saying, trying to figure out is, what is the total amount after you?
So there's still over 2.5
2.5 million?
over that, yeah.
Okay, that's what it's going on.
Yeah, but in all reality, that's going into our
That's just the.
general fund balance, all of it is, because there's no longer restrictions on any of it.
Right, I understand, but still it's available.
Right.
So 2.5 million.
Any more thoughts?
All that money's free to use. However, I hate to be, eager to start spending it, just willy-nilly, because everyone and their brother's gonna figure, well, we got money to spend, and, we're flush. I would suggest it's 30,000, or 35,000, if we're gonna do anything, but take it out of contingency for now. You can always add to the contingency fund later. Way of kind of keeping track of it and pinning it down, you know. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
I think we've already spent $444,664.75. There's other parts of the county too. I mean, I get the importance of the fairgrounds have been taken away from it, and I voted on, spending all that other money, but at some point, there's other places we could look too.
I won't disagree, however, our fair is growing, which is a great thing. We appreciate all the work you guys have put into it, huh?
Well, we've invested heavily in it.
Well, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm happy that you have, so is the fair. Just the few projects we've done out there, yes, they're costly, and this isn't on you guys, but the neglect over the years that happened out there. But it's pretty evident that the attraction of our fairgrounds has grown immensely. I mean, I don't know how many weddings are booked now this year already, 3?
3, and I just did a tour first,
For
a reunion.
a reunion out there.
Yes.
And this essentially is for the taxpayer, I mean, it's us.
Well, the
it's
usage
every-
is on.
The usage is, and it's getting, with more improvements, the more usage we're getting out of it, and to be able to, I don't wanna say, increase the rates of the usage is pretty simple. I think we're still too low for what we rent it out as, and people are willing to pay it. It's a really good attraction to have, and, I understand, yeah, there's other places throwing money, but, to make our fairgrounds more appealing to other people, the more business you can get through it.
Dog show up
There's the
there.
dog shows up there, and
Dog show,
The
circus.
east wing though really does need to be addressed.
the east wing, that one's
That
coming
is a
down to where it's
safety
safety.
issue.
Cause we can't use it right now.
Yeah, it's been neglected for way too long. I mean, it's been done at the fairgrounds for years, up to the last couple.
I know what you're saying, Phil, but that east wing is more of a safety issue.
It's such a big safety issue that it should have already, why don't we do that before they're. Yeah.
I guess all I can say is, I think the fair is putting some money into it, I mean, to pay for some of it. I think John was just saying, the east wing is kind of a liability right now, I mean, somebody could get, you're just waiting for something to happen there. I mean, this fix, I mean, even if you don't give them some money, I mean, it'd be nice to get the approval for them to use some of their money to maybe tear it down and get a concrete slab out there at least. And that, I mean, it would be great to get another building, but I mean, if you're not willing to go $40,000, I don't know, I don't wanna be mean or anything, but it's kind of a no-brainer to me. I mean, to fix something that we already have and it's a betterment of the fair, the community I mean, I know there's other money, everybody needs money and that, but the fair is given money too, so I mean, take it how you want, but I don't know. I
Go along with what Gary's saying there, let's be honest, guys, those buildings been around there as long as I can remember, maybe as long as, these buildings are gonna be an issue every year, every other year, and the longer we go not doing anything, then it's gonna turn into a much bigger bill. We have to do something all at once, I mean, or you just shut it down, but I mean, we've already put investment into that grounds out there, why would we wanna shut it down now? And they did bring half to the table, I mean, that might not happen next time when if we have to fix it, I don't know.
How much do we have in contingency at this point? We allocated some last month for.
There was 200 of general contingency, and we allocated 50,000, or up to 50,000 for the animal shelter, so there's still 150.
So this hasn't been something willy-nilly, we've been working on this for well over a year. We did not use the east wing at all last fair, just in the concrete alone. The more you improve out there, the more usage, the more money then paying groups. And keep in mind, the fair board is a completely volunteer board. The countless hours they are out there improving our grounds, improving those buildings, and everything that they buy, including tables, buildings, you name it, becomes property of the county. So yes, you've spent a lot out there recently, but just because ARPA's over doesn't mean things, I mean, there was progress before ARPA, but as Jamie said, in the LAC cap funds, if you have to spend that, that would just make more sense. If it's for whatever, then you can keep everything in contingency.
We really don't have a plan otherwise to spend those LAC cap funds, so. The LAC cap funds. No, I mean, we spent that $1,000 towards that contribution for that public land.
That's what I would suggest, is use that fund.
I'll make the motion to pull up to 35,000 out of the lab cap funds for this project.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Jim, second by John, to use the, I don't know,
LAC cap.
fund, yeah.
LATCF, it's the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund.
I think, I don't know, I'm having a hard time with it.
Okay,
It's Local Assistance Consistency Tribal Fund. So LAC cap is actually easier to say.
Easier.
FCF.
Okay, any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it.
good, you have to find that. He wanted to.
Okay, we'll move on to update on fairgrounds restrooms and consideration of funding allocation.
I guess we never got no bids, so I guess, I'm wondering what you wanna do with it. I think it's probably a need out there, but, is it necessary right at the moment?
What happened to the idea of these picking up those portable units? You have to go with the state approved plans?
I don't think you guys wanted to go that route, you know. You guys switched it up to go this route again, I think.
I think the move was to seek state approved plans first. And the idea of these portable units came up later, but we'd already approved money for the plans, so that's where it ended up. We haven't got any bids, so, you know, you still have the option of these portable units that they're made out of someplace in Texas or whatever.
Texas and New York, yep.
Pardon?
Texas and New York.
Okay, whatever.
Yep.
But there were probably around 8,000 a piece or somewhere in that area. Isn't that what they were?
Over 90,000.
What's wrong with going with, say, 8 of them on a common slab and water hookup? Water and sewer hookup.
I think that's what I propose, well, I know that's what I proposed to you guys.
Right.
But then we veered off and to do this, the whole thing. So I'm willing to do whatever, you guys just gotta tell me what you wanna do.
Well, it'd be cheaper out than what originally estimated for that building, if you wanna call it that. I think that was estimated roughly 300,000 to start with. New bathrooms and showers and stuff.
Well, starting out with the storm shelter and everything else, then I think that's where that number got.
Precast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess I never asked a question, is being where can that be remodeled, Gary? Does it pay to remodel that current existing structure, or is it too old and doesn't pay?
I think you can put a nice building on it, but I don't think you're still gonna be limited to how many fixtures and drains and plumbing you have in there, you know? You'd have to either add to it, or you'd be stuck with whatever, I think the women's got a couple showers in it, three showers in it.
Well, here's a thought too, so we're looking for more, well, I guess, during your guys' discussion, or, Farrah's in here yet, what are we trying to get here more? We're trying to get more showers, we're trying to get more restrooms, a combination of both? Cause I mean, we can put porta potties out in the summertime. And people that rent the facility, if they feel they need more bathrooms, can rent porta potties for their event that's going on.
I think it was security for the kids, more like for kids taking showers.
Okay.
A combination of both.
And that makes sense.
I don't think really handicap is kind of just not even an option. They're so bad if you go in them. I don't know how someone with a wheelchair could maneuver or even, attempt to use. I know I've not had any lands out there, but they're just in such rough shape, and so there's no security. I mean, the doors, you might as well not even have doors on, really. They're wide open, they don't work, they don't close. They're really bad.
So if we redo the same slab that's there, do we have to go through the same process with the state and all that stuff, or is that considered a remodel, or is that considered?
I think depends on how many fixtures, I think it's 15, don't quote me, but I think it's 15 or more, you need state approved drawings, and that's a fixture is a drain in the floor, a sink, a toilet, a shower, a faucet, whatever.
And you think you're over that number now, or you're not sure?
I would think it's over it.
You'd have to be, yeah, if they're including drains.
I'm just wondering, we need something, but this has been talked about exhaustively. About we just do what's there one way, shape or another, and then if someone needs porta potties, you can always build another one down on the other end someday if the county's got more money, but at least this resolves the problem of at least having one or two showers for kids and stuff to go into from a secure standpoint, that kind of stuff, and I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there for discussion, I guess, for property. Because, I don't know, we've been talking about this a lot lately, we ain't got nowhere with it.
Kicking the can around is all we're doing.
But it sounds like something needs to be done out there, and it needs to be done before the fair.
I think so.
The only comment is just, I've thought about this many times and never really brought it up, it's kinda out of my area, but I was thinking maybe we should get a price on just stick build, kind of what Jim is saying. Everyone is focused on this whole cement thing. A bathroom that size is not gonna be a storm shelter big enough for the capacity of the people down there anyway. Everyone knows our evacuation plan is to leave the fairgrounds. So they don't, I think that needs to go away with the whole cement part, cause that is your biggest expense. And we just need to look at getting a contract, getting some prices for a stick build, replacing what we have at least, making it secure, making it functional. That's the other thing I didn't say, they don't work and maintenance will back that, they always have issues. Over Fair Weekend, I can say for sure, there's always issues in the back, cause they just, backing up, they're just.
Did the RFP go out with, storm shelter in it, or did it go out as a stick build?
No, it's
It
state
come,
approved.
it come out as a state approved drawing, so it was a block structure, basically.
Yeah, it's a storm shelter?
Block, it's not a storm shelter, but it's,
Okay, so I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about when I run the RFP then.
well, it's a block,
Rather than,
the drawings are a block wall and then, wood framed, roof.
Oh, so either way, they want it to be block wall minimum, is what you're understanding right now?
That's what the state approved drawings are. I mean, block wall ain't, I mean, block walls like this, I mean, not too hard to put up.
Right.
And there is more interest in bidding or, on the project, it's just they didn't get it in time. But property's like, well, why should we extend the RFP if there's not a funding source, hence why we're here.
What size building did you end up with back from this date, do you remember?
I don't have it offhand, but I must have been around 28 by 40, I think it was, roughly.
That's pretty good
There's
size.
5 units each
Eight,
side.
yeah,
Four
four
units.
units on each
What do you
side.
think the current one is?
Smaller.
Well,
Yeah.
probably a third of that at the most, huh?
I would say it's 22 by, I'd say 22 by 36 right now.
Is that one that big?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that big.
It's decent size, I think the concrete, I think the concrete's probably okay in there. I mean, if you tore the old one just completely down, and just say you split it up in 4 quadrants or whatever, and put 4 private bathrooms, yeah, I think it'd probably work. You just have to, the plumbing would be a little issue probably.
Yeah, so I'm gonna guess the drains into there are probably cast, and that's probably where your biggest issue is with plugging up. So, that's basically, you're gonna have to pull out your concrete slab and put all of it in.
So if I'm understanding you guys right, what you're saying here is, the stick built's not an option due to the fact we have to follow state plans on this? Or is there a way around the state plans to put this up?
Well, I think I guess I don't know for sure, but I think there probably is a way around.
There would be a way around it, you just gotta really limit your fixtures. Cause once you go over so many fixtures in the public, then it's gotta go to state approved.
Okay.
So we'd have to try to come in under like 15 fixtures in there. But when you talk a toilet, a sink, a drain, and a shower head, that's 4 structures per unit right there.
I could.
Put 4 up, there's 16 structures, so now you're.
But if you make a couple that are just showers, then you're talking 2 per unit there.
Yeah.
Drain and water.
Yeah.
I could reach out to that engineer and just see if stick built would qualify for state approved drawings, but I guess I assumed it didn't because that's what he
I don't-
gave me. He
Yeah.
gave me, he kinda laid out the cheapest way to do it, kinda. From what he told me.
Yeah, I think you guys gotta go back to the drawing board one more time on this and just remember we're in Ladysmith, Wisconsin. I get it, and it's not your guys' fault, it started out as a storm shelter and kinda snowballed and it's nobody's fault, there was good intentions with all of it, but I think we're back to, we need something and it's gonna have to be something that we can afford to do.
No, I think somebody, my personal opinion, I think somebody could build a stick-built, yeah, cheaper than the block, but is it gonna stand the test of time? Like a
Well, that one's been there, I could be wrong, but I think that one's been there for all of 30 years, maybe 40.
We'll be gone.
You know, so I mean, I guess another question maybe just for craps and giggles, Gary. If you were to build another one, let's just say a way around this, I'm just thinking aloud, so what if you built this one for now, and then a couple of years we're like, okay, this isn't enough room, and then we build another one next to it, as long as it stays under the 15 fixtures, can you get by without state plan? And put up another wooden structure. You know what I'm saying, or?
Yeah, but would you cost more in the long run doing that anyways?
Well, concrete block, and it sounds like by maybe some of the things he's gotta follow for rules here, I don't know. I honestly don't know, I'm just throwing out an idea, I'm not saying it's right.
Why can't they build, why can't we build several bathrooms and several showers, just showers? So, you know, if you have a bathroom in every shower, you know, if a bathroom has every shower in every bathroom, you're tying a bathroom up for somebody that just wants to shower and vice versa.
That's what I'm
Which don't
thinking,
make
just
sense.
have, yeah, what is
Separate
it now,
showers?
2 showers in each one? One?
Well, these ones each are separate compartments, so they have a shower, a sink,
Right.
and a
But
toilet.
could a person, well, I don't know, that's up to you guys to figure out. By the time you open them all from the outside, then somebody comes in and messes with them at night, and then maintenance got a huge mess to clean up.
Showers.
So I don't know
Sean,
what the
when
right
did
answer
they-
is.
When did they build the one at Trails End?
What's that?
When did they build it?
Yeah.
2002, 3?
We were in 2006.
I
We were
was-
still in school.
I was still in school. It just got done when I was in 6th grade, because I think we were the first class to get there.
I mean, that one will be, that's all block, decorative block. That'll be there until 2060 with no problem.
The one in the front?
The one in the, Trails End.
Oh, Trails End, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Cause I think the one in the front is blocked, right? Up by the front gate,
Mhm.
but that one wouldn't be big enough either, I mean, for what you guys wanted to do in the back, so. I don't know,
Well, I think we.
What do you want us to do
I think
here? It
we need
sounds-
to Review more options or review the options they have and see what.
sounds like Proctor needs to come to the decision, oh, that's right, ain't gonna matter, next month, let's put it back on Tony. That little plan didn't work.
Last chance.
I think they should call a special meeting before his term ends.
12th. He makes one.
Well, August is gonna be here and it won't be done, that or then you guys will just throw it in the back burner and worry about it next year.
Well, actually, it's probably best that it doesn't get done before the fair, as my
Okay.
fairgrounds coordinator, because we have a wedding before the fair, the dog show moved up, and after the fair, through October, it's wide open. So there's plenty of time. But I just wanted to go back to, before some of the people in this room, Andy Alvarado had talked about it, it's been on capital improvement plans. We've had fairground stakeholders meeting in 2022. It was the highest rate, long-term capital improvement, for new bathrooms and showers by the barns. We've heard the fact, we had another stakeholder meeting in, 2023, and it was one of the top rated, issues. So it is definitely been talked about for many years. It's just, it's been kicked around numerous ways, numerous times, and we had to wait over a year for state approved plans.
Well, what dropped the anchor on you guys was the $300,000 storm shelter, that's the one I think they really.
And that was all for some other funding source.
Hoping we get some grant funding now.
And
but-
yeah, that went out the door right away, so.
Yeah.
If I remember right, that shower room over at Trails End cost the county $250,000.
Really?
And that was like 20 years ago, maybe?
Mm-hmm. I actually have everything in the office on that. Blueprints, everything.
But that's actually the storm shelter, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a storm shelter.
Oh, okay.
But you know, that's a licensed rec ed camp, you know, so kinda different. We need more bathrooms and showers, obviously, because when you have weddings and things like that, they don't shower, you need bathrooms, but yeah.
Yeah, the Trails End ones cost $207,982 in 2002.
Woohoo!
Phil, are you signing this or not?
What, you won't sign it? It'd be like that.
Well, I guess we can't come up with any funding.
No, cause we don't have a number to work off really anyhow, so.
So, Fair Board will have to, you know, kinda look this over and look at options, I guess.
Do you mean Fair Board or property?
Well, I don't think property knows what they're up against either.
Right.
Maybe they should take a look. Maybe they should take a look.
Well,
Go into the women's bathroom and sit down just.
in all honesty, guys, it's county property. So if property needs to come up with a plan on how they're gonna do it, they can work with the fair board or whatever.
Well, yeah, but,
They gotta sign off on this to bring it to us. Right, property? Tony's just.
What's that now?
See, he doesn't even pay attention.
Tony's come the days. I'm directing it towards Phil. He's on.
Yeah, he's on property. That's the buck.
you want to say no on property? He's only said property. All in all, I guess there needs to be more research done, so. We'll move on to update on Trails End Bridge and consideration of funding and allocation.
I just wanna say this is what's gonna happen on property, it's gonna come to property, and we're gonna say,
I want you to go out there and sit in that bathroom.
there's no money there, because nobody's allocated money, and they're gonna say, should we put this out for bids?
Disgusting.
And we're gonna say, well, why put it out for bids if there's no, you haven't determined the funding source? So,
That's what you guys have been asking us to do this for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So like I said, it goes back to, we do the RFPs, and then people come up with bids to do it, and then it's like, well, we don't have funds, and then it gets shut down.
So the reason why nobody gave any bids this time is because they don't wanna give bids to the county right at the moment, because they're tired of it.
Next year's budget's due.
I mean, I got calls afterwards, people interested in doing it, but they can't do it in this timeline, cause it's taken so long just to get it approved to go out to bids. They're more than willing to do it after, like, the fair, because they got a couple other buildings to do this year. But, I mean, it's gotta start somewhere, and going back to property and then back to here, no one makes a decision, cause there's nothing ever allocated.
Might be the simplest though, like Phil just said, get it in the budget for next year. I know you guys need something sooner than that, but it really isn't gonna matter if it's done this fall or next spring, that much of a difference, would it? I mean, if we get it in the budget with some of the numbers at least you guys are looking at least then it's not for nothing.
Yeah, it does not matter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, but.
Yeah.
All their spring is gonna.
You know that magic number that they give you, we will be drastically over that when we do the fairgrounds budget.
I mean, and, you know, the more we keep going, it's just like everything, you know, two things that's not going down is concrete and steel. Concrete went up another $15 a yard this year, it's projected to probably go up again next year,
Right.
you know. I mean, if we could at least get something budgeted and, you know, a set, okay, we got this much money to work with, let's try to come up with a plan to come underneath that or come around that. You know, if we could do it for 100 or 150,000 and say, here's what we can offer to do these bathrooms. And, you know, then at least it gives us something to work with. Otherwise, we come up with, you know, I don't know what Gary's got figured for this one. It's hard to figure it, you know, but maybe this plan was 150 to 200,000.
I think I told you guys right from the start, I told everybody right from the start that it would be around $200,000. So we shaved $100,000 off of what,
from the precast.
What the precast would be, but.
You think block yet would still be 200, Gary?
I mean, I ain't gonna give a hard bid on it or quote on it.
I'm not holding you to it.
But I would say it's gonna be
It'll
around
still
that.
be in the same proximity.
It's just hard to like come up with a plan when we don't know how much we're willing to spend.
You know, it all depends too, I mean, what contractors are bidding it. If you got contractors from Minneapolis or even Eau Claire, you're gonna pay a travel cost.
Oh, yeah, then you pay overnight and everything else.
If you get some block guys that are from around here, and maybe a local contractor, takes it on as a general and hires all kinds of subs to get the job done.
The bathrooms that Gary talked about before, those are $8,000 to $9,000, somewhere in that range, for those.
Yeah, I've seen them lower, they fluctuate. So I think, I mean, if you went that route, I think you could probably get, say you wanted 8 of them. I think you could get 8 of them under $100,000, you know, getting them in, and you'd have to pour a slab. You might be able to use the existing slab, but pour a little bigger slab. But you're gonna have to have some plumbing involved with that and all that, but.
Well, and then even those bathrooms like you're talking about, you're gonna be talking, you think you'd put them on a slab also?
I think I'd put them on a slab, cause you gotta anchor them down.
Okay.
And,
But then, yeah, you then run the plumbing for each one up through the
Yeah.
concrete, so.
so it'd be similar to what the state approved drawings are. There's four on each side, and then in the center, there's a mechanical room. So all the plumbing's in the center. So if you're gonna do them portable ones, do the same thing. You pour a slab, you put 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, and then you have all the plumbing and everything right down the center.
And you got basically plastic versus block.
The only thing is with the block, you're gonna have a nice building. With them, I mean, them portable ones, they'll work, but you're gonna have a bunch of Conex boxes to look at.
I don't think you're gonna save much by the time you're done with your concrete work and the plumbing and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be cheaper initially, but if you think those are gonna last 30 years.
Yeah, I think the block way, either stick built and something's to get, and then you're gonna have to run porta potties when you need them for bigger events, or, you know, you make a shower house with 1 bathroom in each end and come back with porta potties for larger events. I don't know if that's or the block thing, I guess. I don't have a right answer.
And that costs are gonna be far more than this committee can approve.
Yeah.
Give you an example, the animal shelter, they're looking at an addition there, 20 by 40.
Yep.
Their estimate is over 600,000. Not just for room,
For a new cat house.
cat house.
We'll be much cheaper than that.
I guarantee you that.
That number doesn't even sound right.
It's unrealistic.
They're out there.
That number is
I was
unrealistic.
gonna say, what happened?
That just doesn't even make sense, but whatever.
It's not 25, 40 anymore.
But it's,
The state must be involved in that one too, or something.
Approved drawings, yeah.
You then get the sticker. and stuff. Stick your fingers in it. What we gonna do for the summer?
That's not why it's that.
Why don't you just postpone this for now?
Yeah, I think so. We'll move on to number 7, which is the Trails and Bridge and consideration of funding. Continue with it.
So, I just started the position about 7 months ago, so I'm sorry if I'm a little sporadic, because I'm still trying to understand everything. But I know Charmaine, so back in 2022, previous to me, they had the bridge inspected, the swinging bridge down in Camp, by Morgan Palmer here in town. He said it was outlived its lifespan at that point in time. You're looking at a bridge that was originally built in the late 70s, revamped in the 90s, and here we are in the 2020s, and nothing's been done to it since the 90s. So 50 years that bridge has stood. We actually have someone coming this summer renting the facility. They're doing the 50th wedding anniversary down there, and he was part of building that bridge back in the 70s. So it's kind of coming full circle for them. But we had a tree fall on it last September, about mid-September. I brought it to property right after that. We did try to do an insurance claim on it. The insurance person said it was not more than $10,000 worth of damage to the bridge caused by the tree. So then we moved into kicking around, okay, what do we do with it? Do we try to restructure it again? Do we look at a brand new structure from the get-go? So property had me kind of look into it. Some of the numbers I had range from, I'm gonna say 80,000 to 120,000 for a new bridge built. It's a steel structure, it does not swing, but that does not include taking down the old bridge or installing the new one. And them are just budgetary numbers that they tossed out at me. And actually after the last property meeting, they kind of, because we were hoping to use ARPA, but we know that's gone. That course was not, made on it. But I know, Phil kind of alluded to this, and I thought about it, and I talked to Gary though, that we could possibly, as the maintenance crew, maybe do another revamp on it. So, yeah, I'm just gonna throw out a rough number here. Let's say we put 50,000 into that bridge as a revamp. Could we get another 20, 30, maybe 50 years out of it? Possibly, I don't know. I cannot say for certain. But I guess what I'm looking at right now is, the way the bridge sits, I have it boarded up. Doesn't mean people can't jump my boards. You have a group that comes down there, they rent camp, they can't get to the trails because the bridge is blocked. That's the only way to get across Devil's Creek. So I guess if I had, I'm gonna say 10, 15,000 to put into the bridge and make it safe, because right now it's not safe. That west end, it needs some new pillars put in, some, posts, and a couple stringers and some floor joists, put in. It's gonna be a time factor, I'm not gonna lie about it. I know I'm limited on hours, so time is gonna be a factor on that too. And I'd like to get it done before groups use it this summer. Cause, they talk about 4-H, you talk about Girl Scouts, you talk about, even Boy Scouts. I don't know if Boy Scouts have it reserved, but all the youth groups go down there, family reunions, weddings, and they use that bridge to get across to the trails, the nature trails. So I guess we're looking for some kind of funds to hopefully redo it, but if not, could I patch it back to what it was prior to the tree falling on? So, questions, concerns, comments?
So you think you could patch it for how much?
So,
if you weren't doing the whole revamp?
If I wasn't doing a whole revamp, probably, I'm not including time. Alright, so time I'm not gonna include. But as far as materials, probably 10 to 15,000 to put into it to, fix that west, I think, because of the west end of the bridge. To get that structurally sound again. Put some new anchors in the ground, because those guide wires that hold up that bridge have been there since the 70s. Put some, anchors back in, new anchors in, tie them into the old anchors.
Do you think if you get them, patching like that, it would be, approved for more than just one person at a time again? Cause before the
Yes.
tree, it was one person.
One person at a time, no more than 300 pounds. I honestly think we might be able.
That part, I shouldn't have been walking on.
Yeah, that's what, it was on the tag, but I honestly think, could we? Probably.
Now, Larry Gotham from Morgan Palmley, he's the one that did the inspection back then. He quoted, I think, 200 or 250,000 to get that bridge replaced. 200. That's taking it out, everything. I have two other names that one of the Anderson Bridges out of Cornell, I think they are. They gave me a couple other engineers I could reach out to. And because Larry does not, he says that is outside of his scope, the swinging style bridge. I could reach out to them and see what they would think as far as weight limits and such. If we did, put some new posts in, put a couple new anchors in, things like that. But like I said, time is gonna be the thing. I don't know.
And if you were to ask people to go up to Trails End, one of the big parts of Trails End would be the swing bridge. Like if we put the steel bridge up,
yeah,
it kind of takes away the
ambiance.
Nice.
Because actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was in the feed mill here in town, and I mentioned something about the swinging bridge, I think it was 2 months ago, and they're like, it's still standing. I remember going on it as a kid. So everyone knows that bridge from Kane. I know you mentioned there's one in Gilman, but outside of that, I don't know of any other ones in the state. And there might be, and there may not be, I don't know. For something of that caliber, because you're talking 200 feet from tip to tail, 110 feet across the water line, and talking with Gary a little bit, he thinks that we could make sure structurally sound in that 10 to 15. Now, if we got up to 50, we could revamp the whole thing, and it might last another 30, 40 years. But like I said, time is not factored into that number, because it's gonna be a lot of hand work. I know we've talked about maybe getting the correctionals helped out there in the past. Maybe have them come out and do some of the, I'm gonna say grunt labor, yes.
It's actually a question for Gary. Could you make, a new swinging bridge for $64,000 that would last for many years?
If the county would take care of the permits and everything else, I think we could do it.
Brand new?
Yes.
Cause that's what's left in the black calf.
So I mean,
if the county would take care of all permits, inspections, all that, yes.
You mean, yeah, but maintenance, you think you can get it done, you're not gonna try to take this on, are you, maintenance?
I mean, it's an easy project, somebody's gotta do it.
so I'm not gonna speak out of turn hopefully, but hopefully what we'd end up doing is patch it enough where we can use it this summer. And as soon as September, October rolls around, when camp closes, anything that we put into it now can be reused when we redo it. Does that make sense?
But if you build from new.
So right now it's a wood structure.
It's a wood structure.
So I would put in some concrete footings.
Yeah.
And that, you could still use wood, but put in some concrete footings for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna
help tremendously.
And right now, I have a hard time, I mean, it's an emergency repair right now. I mean, sure it's shut off, but every kid that goes out there goes on it, because I think Phil said that too. If I was that age, if somebody told me no,
yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
Even though we have this big sign, yeah. They're gonna jump. I got some 2x6s going across it, up over a ways. They're gonna jump over the 2x6, I'm sorry. And they just want me to sit there and patrol it and pay, to do that. But I think I had better things to do with my time than control that 24/7.
So I think what we're alluding to is that obviously it's gonna be a huge cost, but if we can get, say, $15,000, I think we could get it open this spring yet.
Yeah.
For the camp to use, who knows, maybe it might be good for a while, but I mean, if we were to get more money, I think we could do it internally, and maybe not even have to go through all the processes of bidding stuff out and getting getting a contractor to do it. I feel very comfortable doing the project, it's just, I don't wanna get too tied up into it right now because we don't have the money. If you guys say, hey, we got some money, I'll dig into it.
So we don't need any bids as long as, if we just allocate funds for maintenance to do the work, right?
You guys gotta tell me that, I guess I don't know exactly, but I would think.
So then the question is, do we wanna put,
Right, we don't have to as long as we're doing it in-house type thing.
do we wanna put 10 to 15 right away, or do we wanna go with 50 and plan on revamping the whole thing?
Well, it doesn't sound like, if I understood Gary correctly, they have time to redo the whole thing this year.
Well, if I were to do the whole thing, it would be done this winter.
This fall, into winter.
Fall, winter, cause.
But we would make it passable prior to camp open. At least back to, one person at a time type thing. So that way, cause right now you can't cross there in order to use the nature trails. They're completely closed off. And that's over half of campus across that bridge.
We could set aside the remainder of the LabCAF funds for this project. And if he decides after he remodels it, that that's good for 20 years or something after he digs into it, he doesn't need to replace it.
A lot of cap funds don't have a timeline, correct?
Correct.
Cause I know we did talk, and there's the first bridge prior to that, next to the swimming hall. We may have to do just slight work to that in order to get like a skid steer across it, cause it is wide enough.
Creative engineering.
Yes. We just may have to, put down some extra planking across it, cause the structure that's underneath it would hold a skid steer, it's just the planks on top. Would not, but, that type of thing. So. And I tried to put a phone call back into the DNR today, did not get back to me about the possibility if we were to, I'm gonna say do a revamp compared to a rebuild, what the permit process would look like for that. If we do a complete replace, I think he said it would be the higher permit, which would be $900 and some, but you've gotta do, several things with that, profile and, I know we were talking about that, but.
A rebuild might be easier because the structure's already got a permit originally, it's kinda like if you.
Well, that bridge is not permitted to
You
be
would
there.
think.
It's not, the DNR has no record of it being there whatsoever, but it's grandfathered
When
in.
it's already there, I mean, it's like when you rebuild the garage, you leave one wall standing because you're too close to the sidewalk, so yeah.
Next question is, are they even gonna is the state, you think, okay with swinging bridges continuing to be built and rebuilt?
I think as long as we repair it, we're fine.
Yep.
But what I was gonna say before, so say we put this up, we already put it out for bids, or.
No, we did not.
We haven't yet.
We haven't.
So you're gonna get this, whatever, just say a contractor's gonna bid $100,000 for the bridge. There's so much other work that's gonna go on to that, they're gonna bid $100,000 for a steel bridge. And they didn't even show up and look at the site.
They're gonna realize real quick that.
Once they show up and look at the site, they're gonna be like, what did I get myself into?
Mm-hmm.
And there's be another $100,000 just to get it.
Footings on each end and stuff, is that what you're thinking?
Well,
Just to get to it.
Just to get to it, cause
Just
the
to get to
trail, going from the first bridge to the second bridge is only like 6 foot wide. And I know the one that quoted me, well, he said about $1,000 per feet. He said he needs a trail at least 7.5 foot wide to get his telehandler back there, in order to get a steel bridge across.
Yeah.
So the trail would have to be widened and everything else for him to get back there.
So if
I
they're gonna,
really think the swinging bridge to trails end is what the grandstands are to the fairgrounds, right?
Yes.
It's the icon of that area.
I wouldn't even suggest a steel bridge.
No.
I think it's swinging bridge or nothing.
Yeah.
I think the only way I'd say steel bridge is if you're gonna turn it into a snowmobile trail, and then we make Jared go get some funding and a grant to put a bridge over.
So,
Oh, well, now that
we,
in that case.
that, with the rec ed camp license, we can't have that actually going through there.
Yeah, plus after you get across a swinging bridge, there's stairs, and then the nature trail itself is not very wide. We
No.
do not permit motorized units back on the nature trail.
So we gotta change a couple rules, Sean.
You haven't seen what those snowmobile guys can do, they can walk up anything.
I
I
knew
get
there'd
that,
be a
but-
catch when I threw that out.
As far as your budget, would you have enough money to at least buy some materials, so these guys could?
Well,
get
I
started?
think what he's talking about of fixing it to open it with camp, that could come out of this year's budget.
Well, that would pretty much eat most,
Well, what do you think it just, I thought it was just a couple boards.
15,000 we'd like.
Oh, no, we don't have that, that's like.
that is our whole budget.
But I feel like that's kind of what contingency for is emergencies, right? So I feel like that's it would be a good use of contingency funds. It is an emergency, right? The contingency is, here's the unforeseen, well, the tree was gonna fall on it, and then.
If we're gonna fix it, I would agree with that.
The ARPA funds.
Is that your motion?
Yeah. What's your motion?
Things along.
Oh, yeah, I'm motioning contingency 15 to fix it and then 64 left.
To allocate.
Bill's gonna word it.
To allocate $15,000, up to $15,000 out of contingency. Affects the swinging bridge at Trezor.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, motion by Phil, second by Jim. Any more discussion? Anything else?
Was that,
None. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The motion carries.
The second one?
was that for the second one?
That was for the swinging bridge, right?
Yeah.
Only.
The swing
Well,
bridge?
this is just to fix it.
Just to fix it, okay.
Was there
Hopefully there's a
anything
second
out there for the, what do you call it? The lab cat?
Black cap.
We're taking it out of contingency to fix the bridge.
Okay.
The 15,000, right?
Up to 15, that was the motion that passed.
Just to get it out of emergency state?
Yep, so you can fix it up, make it useful again, and
Then we'll come, I'm gonna say come back again later to, I mean, if we might get a couple of years out of it when we fix it, but do we come, I don't know how to word it, do we come back then to?
my suggestion would be, it's a lot nicer when we can budget things. I realize that
Yeah.
it gets hard, even, I mean, you guys, all your departments have a lot of things they need. But if we can try to do it during a budget process, I like that better.
Yeah.
I think we all do, but we don't, it doesn't always work.
For the big
Okay, so we can do that for 2025.
Or,
Between
I
budget and
guess
capital
the big
improvement
thing would
plan.
be is, after you get done fixing it up, then
We'll see what we,
decide what we need to do.
okay.
Gary.
Thanks for the $15,000.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll get it fixed up the best we can, and we'll probably talk again.
And if it's not gonna be safe, then I guess you'll come back and visit us again or something, we'll figure it out, but.
No, thanks for the 15,000.
Yeah.
That's,
It's big, it's huge.
it'll get it open, I think it'll get it open.
Yeah.
Well, like you said earlier, I still remember going across that bridge 40-some years ago, so.
Cross that bridge when we get to it, right?
There you go, Randy.
Well, after we get it fixed, the property can meet out there, we can go jump on it or something.
Only one of them at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yes, in the women. I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go back on to number 4, charges to other county properties.
Okay, were you, here for the wage increases for summer help or no? Oh, can we do that? Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, you wanna do wage? All right, number 9, wage increase for summer help. Who's this?
Yes, so that would be our 2 fair staff. They are returning, so, back in Andy and Kitsy's time, they set it up, I don't know if it was in writing or anything, but, summer help started at $12.50 an hour, and then if they came back the next year, they got a $1 hour increase every year up until they capped out at 15. So I took it to Justice Youth and Extension to increase one by $1 to $13.50 and to cap out the second at 15. And then we were talking about it and we're like, where's that ever written down? So I think this was a cleanup thing, or just to get it, well, because it's allocating money, we have to go through this and then county board?
Because it affects pay increases, like, I think it's different for the other departments where they term and then they come back, so it goes through the hiring process and that, you know, their wages designated in the hiring process, but since these fair interns or fair, coordinators work year round, it's a little bit different than the other summer help type.
And we have had summer help in the maintenance department come back and get the dollar.
But they go through like the hiring process, or, you know, and so that's part of their, you know,
okay.
so these. they're
Okay,
not-
yes, they stay, yes, they stay on payroll all year,
Is
yes.
this for, which department is this for?
It's a fair.
Fair. Under extension.
So are you asking approval, or are you?
I'm asking approval,
Or
it's
you
100% paid for by fair, because there's no levy in the fair
I'll
budget.
make that motion to approve it.
Okay, a motion by John,
Second.
second by Phil, to approve the wage increases for summer help. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay, now we'll go back up to 4. Maintenance charges to other county properties.
Okay,
New technique here, or a new,
well, it's not really a new technique, because we have been billing most of the, other county properties jointly owned and, fairgrounds, Trails End, et cetera, for the time that maintenance guys. The maintenance guys do PARs, their personal activity reporting on their timesheet, and then at year end, they give us those reports, and we allocate out their time accordingly. Last year, we did not charge out to, the library, because by the time we got those calculations done, the settlement had already been done for the library. So we just didn't bill it out because we'd already done that settlement, but this year we did have it done in time, so we did bill it to all of the properties, and I sent you guys the, allocation, so we charged to all of the joint management properties, which includes animal shelter, library, also the airport, fairgrounds, Trails End, the rail industrial park, the visitor center, but the library is questioning the charges, and so it started with a question of, oh, what is this? And I said, oh, you know, that's the time that our maintenance department has spent working on the library. You know, most of it, or a lot of it will correspond with the maintenance request that they put in, because they put in maintenance tickets, and then maintenance goes out there and fixes or does whatever it is that they're asking for. And then they're also going out there and doing heat checks. They did some concrete work out there in relation to the building upgrades. So I had sent the invoice to the city like we do with all the other library invoices that come through us, and then they settled up with us in full. And I kinda thought it would be the end of it when she asked what the charge was for, just explain what it was. Well, it's not the end of it. She's accusing us of misappropriation of funds, that we have no right to bill for this, that it's, you know, outside the scope of our library agreement. So.
This is the city, or this is the?
The library director.
Library director.
Yes.
So the city was fine with it, they understood.
Yeah, they paid for it.
We understood.
And
the
we,
library director.
yeah, and we pay for 60% of the library costs as the county. So, you know, even, we still pay for 60% of the invoices that we paid, but, the city handles the books for the library, so they reimbursed us in full for it, and then we true it up with our annual settlement with the library.
So what was her argument that that's why it's different?
That,
Yeah.
it violates our library agreement.
And what
But-
part of it is
it's not been done before.
What part of the library agreement does it violate, did she say?
She did, but Rich provided a legal written opinion that it does, that we are within our rights to bill for it. And yeah, we hadn't billed for it previously, but we're doing the work, it doesn't say in the agreement that we have to do it for free.
I think it's only, I mean, it's part of, when maintenance does a job, we gotta be able to account for what kind of job we're doing, so we bill out any building that is, working on. I think it's probably the right thing to do is to, that way you can account for their time.
had a library board meeting here the other night, and so, yeah, it gets to be an interesting scenario because, they just got this bill, I thought it was $7,300, it's over 11,000.
No, it was $7,732.06.
The bills that we approved was 11,000.
There was other costs on there too that, for like, probably,
Supplies maybe?
supplies and stuff like that, yeah.
Well, the thing is, they got this bill now in what, February?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the budget, you know, they're done with the budget.
But it was included in that budget closeout. The city are,
So, okay, the budget, the library budget came out at 104%. Was that 11,000 in that 104% then?
so, let me look.
Because if we're over, then the county ends up paying it.
Well, our portion of it, yeah.
So we're paying ourselves.
But 60%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the city pays for the other, so,
Better than losing 100%.
right, and I can pull up, this is the settlement that Tony and I agreed on with the library. So, I don't, I think that she kind of
Tony was there at the meeting and, he was just kind of there to see trying to get information to us, to what's taking place.
So this is the settlement that Tony sent, and then we, did some adjustments and agreed on a number. But I'm pretty sure that it's included in this amount here, which is what Tony and I used to do the settlement, and at that point in time, he had already sent us a check, like we've been paid by the city for these invoices in question, so I don't know that she was truthful with you in that sense either.
Because the 11,000 would have been for the month of February.
No, it was, well, we might be talking about two different things. We sent out an invoice in February for 2023 related costs to the city.
So that's 11,000 for the whole 2023, what you're saying? Or 77 or whatever.
$7,732 was the cost of the maintenance time spent at the library for all of 2023. But we do also invoice, let's see.
Well, you're at present company.
Here.
No, I don't know all these numbers, I didn't look.
Okay, yeah, so that must be their object codes. But, so this is the last invoice that we sent to them for 2023, where it has, we bill for the, police department's phones and other things that IT purchases for them. Then these are the library charges here. And so, we are obviously billing them for all of the parts, materials used, so we just billed for their time as well. And then what Randy has here, so 249.
Right, I mean,
This doesn't, well, maybe that's just what they paid to us, but.
If the budget's off going forward because maybe they assumed they didn't have to pay for labor. I mean, it's just gonna come back to next budget cycle, we're just gonna add a little bit more to the budget, so I don't know where the big problem is on the library's end about charging for the work that's being done. It's not 100%
Right,
sure.
and it's,
There's gotta be something more or something that.
Is it revenue?
Oh, somebody or something.
this 7,000, yes. Yeah, but this, I don't know, how this really equates. Yeah, I don't know if the 250.
In all joint management buildings, you said we're getting billed for maintenance, right, correct?
Yes.
Well, I think it's fair that we do that.
Okay. I mean, because she sent out an email, yesterday. A very long email, but letting us know that she is tasked with, I'm tasked with letting the three of you know that last night the Rusk County Library Board voted against releasing the funds for the 2023 maintenance to other properties, which we've already been paid those funds, so I guess I'm kind of confused. There were a number of concerns that I'm sure you would have been made aware of. What?
They didn't know it was paid.
But she did. So she didn't adequately communicate that, because she, at one point in time, she had instructed Tony to invoice us for it. Why would she instruct Tony to invoice us for it if she knew, didn't think it was paid? So she says there were a number of concerns that I'm sure you would have been made aware of had you chosen to attend and fully explain the charge. However, lacking that vital information, the board does not agree with the charge and does not release those funds to Rusk County. As your own counsel stated in his letter of legal opinion, in conclusion, based on the above, it is my conclusion that if Rusk County does maintenance on behalf of the library, this cost should be accounted for in its budget and paid according to Article 9 of the agreement, along with all other costs of ownership. The board fully agreed with this, and since this is not a cost that had been previously discussed with the library board, nor budgeted for in 2023 or 2024, then it is not a viable cost and should not have been charged at all without any sort of previous indication being given to the library board.
So who made a request to have that done?
To have what done?
Or any of that work done?
She did for
Okay.
a lot of it,
So
and
then
then
if
other
it's
parts
not
of
a-
it is Gary
if
being
it's-
proactive and going out there and making sure that the heating system is working and that there's not other maintenance issues that need to be dealt with before they become.
So if it's not approved, but she made the request, is she paying the bill? That'd be my question. It just seems weird, the whole.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not very reasonable communications that I've been able to have here.
Randy, you're on the board.
I have a copy of the agreement here too, if anybody wants to look at it, but it says, maintenance, in order to keep library maintenance as efficient as possible, Rusk County's maintenance department shall perform routine maintenance at the library and shall as needed recommend to the library director what and when non-routine maintenance should be considered going forward.
So maybe we need some communication from them saying they want to continue doing maintenance on the library.
But
Maybe that's the question, I think.
Problem is, if maintenance isn't done in that building, we're gonna foot the bill for 60% of what's not done.
Yeah, we do gotta do it.
And what's even more complicated is that this is an agreement between the city and the county, and it's apparently the library board that is refusing to pay this, so.
So maybe Ashley and Alice sit down with the library director and say, hey, we're not gonna stop doing maintenance. Just a thought.
Well, I think
Or
there's
John
gonna
and
be.
Bob, however you wanna put it.
We've tried, we sent her everything that she's asked for, as far as the documentation and the written legal opinion, but,
Yeah, but she
apparently
had
Ashley
to-
and I and Rich are not good at doing our jobs.
She had to do what she did there without the board knowing it.
In my opinion, it's already paid and
Yeah, it's like I said, we didn't know that.
yeah, she very much miscommunicated that to you, which I'm sure she'll blame on me.
104%, the total budget included that, so apparently it does. That makes a difference too.
Yeah,
When's your next meeting out there, Randy?
Be next April, but, I'm sure they're gonna come to the joint management meeting. Discuss it, so.
Well, and maybe that's a better chance for them to explain, because maybe there's something more going on that it's hard to explain in an email to them. So she goes to joint management takes a look at it, says, hey, now we understand where you're coming from, or, no, you're not understanding, and they can explain it to her. So it's going that direction anyways.
is that joint management meeting?
Well, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be on the day that we only work half a day, so I would think the end of March.
And I won't be here that week, so.
So what's the oversight for the library? I mean, is it the city, the county, just the library?
The city is the fiscal manager.
Who does the hiring of employees regarding the library, et cetera?
Library director hires her staff, and the library board hires the director.
So who hired the last library director when we replaced that person?
The library board.
The library board did, but the county also approved it, correct? Did it come here for approval?
They're actually city employees.
Right.
They're city employees. So then this is a city issue when it comes to explaining this to their employee, correct?
I
Am I reading
tried
this
that
wrong?
route and they're claiming that they have no oversight over that and that it's all entirely on the library board. I said, is there no code of ethics, is there no employee code of conduct?
So in other words, what I'm getting from this whole thing is the city's enjoying this right now.
I'm sure they don't.
Well,
Again, another round of nonsense.
Because
I doubt the city's probably.
they're
one
gonna end
problem
up
for
paying
that.
a little more
The norm-
for that.
The normal protocol is, if you got a problem with the department head, you would go through the committee. But then, from there, where do you escalate it to? Like, if the committee's having issues, I guess that's the question.
Well, ultimately, it's not up to the city or the library board whether or not Rusk County bills for the services that we're providing.
I mean, it sounds like a personnel issue, right? Maybe.
That's what I'm getting at.
But, and the city's right, the first line of defense is your oversight committee, right? But then at that point, then it gets escalated, so then where do we escalate it from there? Is it the county personnel committee, is it the?
Very escalated even in joint management last time.
This isn't the first time something's come up.
Actually, yeah, joint management is probably.
The previous director gave employees a $3 raise without, like, the board approval. Let it slide, so I mean, this is not the first time.
Decide that.
Honor.
Sounds like there's an issue there with the hierarchy.
Yeah. Who's in charge of what?
Randy, Terry's, or Terry.
I guess I don't know anything what happens that way, we do our job, maintenance and stuff, but I think maybe it's just maybe she's passionate about her job as the librarian, I'm sure she is, and that, but the fact is that the library's never got billed for that before, so I imagine it probably rubs her the wrong way, that for how many years, Jimmy, 20 years? Never got billed, and I'm not taking any sides or anything, but I'm just saying, I could probably see the librarian's side, I can see Jamie's side, and that, but, I mean, something.
Well, and if she's worried about running budget money, I think we could explain that, that's how maybe that wasn't budgeted for, maybe they didn't understand the process, I think that could be added, the budget could be expanded, at the next budgeting process, if they figure there's gonna be $10,000 in maintenance labor, then add $10,000 in maintenance labor.
Maybe that's what
I think that could be explained.
Maybe that's what needs to happen going forward, because, I mean,
At the same time, we're not gonna stop the maintenance out there.
Yeah.
Because somebody's rubbed the wrong way though either.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause
You can't, the library's important, and
every day, we go there every day, we go to every building every day, it don't matter if it's the county owned, or if it's city county owned, we go to every building every day multiple times.
and I don't think that needs to stop because somebody doesn't understand.
But what I'm just getting at, I can see Jamie's side, but I can also see, Christina's side too, but I think she's probably I know she's very passionate about her job, and that, but, for how many years you never got a bill, then all of a sudden you get a bill, and you're like.
Well, maybe that's something that needs to be clarified, never.
Oh, right, and I understand that it wasn't, but
But it sounds like she's angry and it's not, the library board hasn't been able to calm her down, right? So she's excited, so the next step maybe needs to explain it to her.
I don't know how you can explain common sense. You expect them guys to do something and then expect us to pick up the bill. Everybody bitches because we've, previously spent money for no reason, but yet he's getting paid for doing nothing, when the city should be able to kick that back anyways.
the city isn't the one that's.
City didn't have a
Library,
problem.
I mean.
Yeah, and
So, I mean, it's still their bill. You expect to do something for not get paid for it?
Well, I think, anyway, it's gonna come up at joint management, and I think, you need to discuss. The city might have questions on, like Gary's time on the other outbuildings and. So-
Yeah,
and
if the
I think
meeting
it's
is
justified, but.
the last week of this month, I won't be there.
And that's a different discussion, if they're questioning how much time is being spent, that's a different discussion than we're not gonna pay for time, you know what I mean?
and I did provide, Gary put together a list of all the work that was done out there in 2023. I provided that along with Rich's legal opinion and the detailed calculation of how I came up with all those charges. I guess I don't really know what else to do.
Well, I think.
No, you had your report was extensive.
Well, and we've said since this committee came on that we were going to, you know, all these maintenance charges are gonna get charged accordingly per department. So, maybe we weren't the best,
Just so
maybe we're at
everybody's
fault for not
clear on it,
communicating
the
it
library
to us,
needs to be
but we
clear on
did
it.
say it here in numerous meetings that,
Budget accordingly.
I mean, we have discussed this before, maybe we're at fault for not communicating maybe the best, but as a committee.
Okay, well, we'll try to get it cleared up.
Thank you.
Okay, number 8 is required documentation for housing authority ARPA allocation. And yeah, Jim, you missed that meeting, but anyway, or did you? No, you didn't. Yeah, no, you were there. I had requested $45,000 for, heating.
Oh, the county board one?
Yeah,
Okay.
out of ARPA funds for the, housing authority. So then I asked Jamie, you know, how do we handle that? So she said, well, why don't we put something on here to see what if you need documentation. I do have the.
Because normally, you know, we would operate more on a reimbursement basis, but obviously the housing authority does not have the money to front these costs prior to, you know, having them done. So what I'm looking for is approval to, you know, or guidance from you guys on how, what kind of documentation you want prior to making.
I thought they said that they had turned things around and they were doing better.
Right, but they don't have $45,000 sitting around to be able to front the expenses for.
Yeah, see, and I have, we have two bids.
project.
The bid was, what do we got here? Bid was $61,339. Second bid was $62,331, so, and that's for the 3, and we allocated 45. But they do have a grant too, also. So, what we're looking at is the grant was gonna cover the 3 locations, Sheldon, Ladysmith, and Warehouser. So, but then we're looking at 45,000 would also take care of Hawkins and Bruce. So, but I don't have the figures for Hawkins and Bruce at this point, so. But I do have for the other 3.
Yeah, from an administrative standpoint, the easiest thing would be to, you know, have them send us some sort of letter of request for the funds and use the ARPA resolution that allocated those funds as supporting documentation and cut the housing authority a check for $45,000.
But then it doesn't, they could just put that in your bank account.
Well, they would put it in their bank account when they spend it on these projects, but they're planning on moving forward with these projects and their
Part of the
management company.
reimbursement is the guarantee that they're gonna spend it on the project.
They could provide a report once they do spend it. I mean, they get, their other grant funding they got up front. When they got that grant funding for the flooring, they were given that cash up front and then spent it, you know, they kept it in a segregated fund.
That was from us.
No, that was from USDA, Rita? Okay.
So you're saying we need to give them the money before they do the work, is what?
Well, that's what,
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure just where they're at with the time frame as far as, but yeah, it'll be, you know, this coming spring and summer, they'll be working on it.
So I mean, can't they, when we say it's done and they send the money to the housing, or to them?
When the
We
bill
could.
comes, like when the bill comes from a contractor.
Yeah, once they get billed and then we give you the authority to move that money over, I mean, well, you already have it now. By us putting it on the ARPA allocation. We don't
Yeah.
need to give you more authority.
well, it would have to come through this committee again before it gets paid.
Okay,
So like if they get, say they get an invoice the day after the finance committee meeting, they'd have to wait another month before we could cut a check. would prefer that those
Maybe
payments
you
go
were-
directly to the vendors, or?
I don't know, I guess the question came up as to whether or not we want to.
Well, are you
let them
worried
share the
about
money.
the terms of the contractor, cause are the terms like 15 days or something, and you're worried that they wouldn't get paid on time?
Somewhat, yeah, because they, I mean, most of the time our vendors are willing to work with us, but, you know, they might get an invoice and not get it to us that same day, and that could delay things too. I mean, I'm open to
feel
either
like
way,
if
I just
they
want guidance.
If they want the money, they're gonna get us the invoice right away.
Well, if you have the bid price, that suffice.
That's what I'm fine with it either way, but
That's
I'm
a
just.
bid, not a bill.
See, like Landmark is not gonna be our banker.
Right.
Can understand that.
I mean, I'm fine with it either way, I'm sure that they kinda wanna know how the process is supposed to work.
Can we give you pre-approval for when the bill comes in, to pay it? Without coming back here? Cause that way, if it's a net 15 days or whatever the terms are, they'd still get the money in time, but at least we let them, we just toss it out there and then have a bill for it. Generally, would be with most things.
Yeah, she knows what it's going for, if she
Yeah.
gets the bill, then she can pay it.
That's fine,
Why can't we do that?
that's fine.
Up to the 45,000 that was allocated.
Yeah.
Is that your motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Here's my kind of.
And that was for until,
So-
pay the invoices as they come in.
Yeah, so motion by Phil Schutz to, give the finance
Pre-approve
department.
when the bill comes in to give them the check right away, without coming back to finance
Up to the
for
45,000.
the 45,000 was allocated.
I have.
Well, the extra's gonna be picked up by them anyways.
Right.
Finance department
Never know, we might get lucky, it might come in under.
to pay.
Wasn't like $67,000
the
that they
authority.
spent.
If they're not
It
gonna
won't
spend
come
it
in.
until next year, they better spend all of it, or it's done anyway.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's all getting done this spring, so.
This spring.
Spring and fall, right, that's what you said, Randy?
You're doing the spring
This
and
spring
fall,
and
or-
this fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might not,
done this year.
might not be all this spring either.
Okay, on the motion, any other discussion, questions? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no, and motion carries. Okay, move on to approved invoices. I had a few questions.
Sure.
Associated Bank, we're, general application bonds, we're paying one for the highway department. Do they have enough money to pay those bonds?
No, that blacktop plant is in the hole,
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how far, but
So we're paying them, well, they gotta be paid, so.
yeah, and it was issued as general obligation debt, so, yeah, we have to,
I guess that was our agreement on the blacktop plant, that we didn't make the payments.
yeah, it was issued as general obligation debt, but we're treating it as revenue debt, so we have to pay it, it's backed by the, taxpayer dollars, but we're not actually levying it onto the taxpayers as general obligation debt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you got another source of funding for it. That's what I was wondering.
But the highway can't pay it anyway.
I had another one, Tolly's loss, Tolly's law, professional services, county board attorney fees, it was 1,600, and then we, professional services, 3,000, and then legal fees for board of adjustment. Is that all, and they're all one attorney, where is that, where are they from? And
So that's Andy Phillips.
yeah, okay, and then that, board of adjustment, 2,600?
Switch is like our land con office. A different attorney has to represent the Board of Adjustments. Switch can't represent both.
Right. That's why.
And we bought a pickup from Don Johnson.
That was the sheriff's department.
Sheriff, they're getting at $250.
Yes, because the property committee asked them to buy, those bigger trucks so that they're more useful once they come out of the sheriff's department and get used by maintenance or forestry or.
So what happens is we're getting these half tons, they come through the fleet, and after 5 years, they get new vehicles for the sheriff. They come into the fleet, and your forestry department, your highway, whoever wants a truck, they need 3/4 tons. So as long as we're gonna be spending the money on new vehicles, we might as well have something that's at least got a handy down.
It was like 52,000 or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, your logic is.
That's cheap.
Well, we get the state.
I know, that's cheap.
And then we paid Jerry Zamico, one of the vehicles was a Ford Expedition. Do we have an Expedition?
Yes, that is, well, it was Riley's squad investigator vehicle.
An Expedition? That's a big expensive Ford.
I think it was for the dog cage.
It was for the dog cage and he was the drug investigator, so he needed more capacity in that vehicle.
Did we buy that new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy hell, those things are, what, 80, 90,000?
I don't think it's a very stripped down basic,
Well, actually, those ones are like a civilian type vehicle.
but not with, they're like not with
Not-
leather
yeah.
seats or, you know, the TV in the ceiling or anything, you know.
Oh, not.
I could tell you how much it costs, well, that'll include.
They stay within their budget on these vehicle purchases here this year?
Well, they're in the fleet. They went through property.
There we go.
Okay, so the Expedition has a cost of $43,585.73.
How much?
$43,585.73.
That's pretty cheap, that's cheaper than an Explorer right now, if you went mowing yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly.
it's pretty comparable, but we didn't have to spend as much money equipping, well, because it's.
Oh, the bill must be coming from Sound and Logic for another 7,000 or 8,000.
That one's fully capitalized. It was purchased in June of 22.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we paid, Doug's Plumbing, we paid for a replacement of boiler at library, 13,799. Is that our portion, or is that the whole thing?
I believe that's the whole.
So we need to collect from the city on that, right?
I have to look back.
Collect from the library, your part.
Yeah, I'd have to look back to see how we were supposed to allocate that one.
Notes of the library administrator. Watch your blood boil.
That was still the original, so remember how there was that agreement made with the city regarding them paying for the demolition of that church with tip dollars and then not paying for a lot of the library stuff? That's part of that.
Okay. Still there, huh? I thought that was already after.
No, that was still part of that capital project funds for the HVAC.
We had another check to Security Financial Bank, and that's for business checks for trust account for the DA. Didn't know they had their own.
It's for restitution, so that account is only used, people can pay the restitution in, and then the DA's office cuts checks out to the victims. So.
They do their own checking then.
Yep, they have QuickBooks and we go up there and do the payments on that.
What exactly does the 23,000 to the library for March 2024, what does that entail? Is that just 1 month, or?
Yeah, that's just 1 month. So we make our library payments based on 1/12 of our budgeted allocation throughout the year, and then at year end, we do a settlement with the
So
city.
we levy the county for the library,
I just don't remember seeing one this big on here.
because we
Okay.
levy, then we make a payment, you know.
How much have we given Venture Architects so far? Since we signed with them?
$4.99.
Okay, that's my questions. Anybody else have questions?
He's checking.
Go on ahead.
Phil, do you know you can get a sleep app for $10?
Sleep app.
Yeah, from Dreamtime. It's right here. I saw it.
$213,943.11. Yeah, 349,000 was their contracted amount. I think the other part was the signals group.
What is a sleep? Is it for like the white noise sounds or something?
Okay.
For like the white noise sounds or something? The sleep app. And now you got me thinking about that show.
I didn't know it'd be that easy today. Any more questions? Motion approved. Motion to approve the invoices by Tony? Is there a second? Second by John. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries, the invoices are approved. Any out-of-county travel?
Well, I have to clear mine up from Madison when I went to WCCO. I didn't put mileage down, that was $110. I did drive myself, so, and then they also billed me $18 a night for parking.
For what?
For parking. Yeah, you get park.
That doesn't count, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only person we got.
Yeah, so so it's not correct, and I just wanna make sure.
Yeah,
you guys
that's-
know.
You could have walked.
Oh, to Madison.
So you need a, do we need a motion?
Any other out-of-county?
No.
Do you need a motion for that correction or no?
I think we should just to,
I wanna make sure you guys knew, cause.
Okay, I'll make that. John says I made
Jot
that motion.
something down in the minutes on that.
Okay.
Cover that.
Phil made it, I seconded it.
Okay.
Just pointed. Okay, administrative coordinators report.
Okay, so from the personnel committee, the jailers presented on Act 4 to personnel, and personnel has asked them to come back with a little bit more information. There could possibly be a fiscal impact, possibly at some point, so just wanna keep you aware of that. And then we talked about Jeremy's position, we talked about intern and fair pay increases. The other thing out of personnel, and this is coming to county board on Tuesday night, is the extended leave bank policy. If personnel approved that if you are on, an FMLA qualified leave, that you can tap into your extended leave bank without having to go through the personnel committee. So you could argue that there could possibly be a fiscal impact, so that's why it's gonna come through the county board.
So there's already a bank there for extended leave, and they
Mhm.
normally have to go to personnel to get it approved.
Mhm.
But that's kind of what it's for, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So I mean, they're approving it anyways. Yeah, I'm sure personnel pretty much approves it all the time anyways, right?
Since I've been here,
Yeah,
they have
I-
not denied anything,
yeah, I don't
yeah.
So it's just streamlining the process pretty much.
Yep, and now that we have an HR manager, it seems unnecessary.
Well, it's their extended leave bank.
Oh, and they don't have to ask for permission to use it for sick leave in excess of 5 days, but they do to utilize it for FMLA, so.
Yeah. Clearing up that policy a little bit more, making it a little easier. Okay, so that is from personnel. For joint management, the enterprise center is in need of a new boiler. Gary got some quotes on that, and it came in anywhere between 55,000 and 95,000.
Well, that's not much for range.
Not at all, right? So I believe joint management directed him to put that out for bid.
Which one was that?
At the enterprise center.
Enterprise, okay, thanks.
And if we do have to replace that, where do those funds come from?
Our mining fund.
And the city reimburses us for half of that?
They do not.
What am I missing about joint management?
You're missing that the fact that they manage them jointly doesn't mean that we share the expenses.
Right, never signed up for that, yes.
I think it's back in the days when they were pushing for the economic development. Somehow this came about. Needs to be fixed.
Got all kinds of money, but it you don't.
Okay.
Also, under joint management,
Uh-huh.
the city announced that they've got a renter for the Beats Avenue building, or a potential. Where the sheriff's in, so.
This is like the 5th time though that they've had a potential renter for that building, isn't it? I mean, just saying.
You'll probably be hearing about it in the future, so.
the city gonna go? They're with us.
Yeah, the city police department also has storage in gates.
Not sure if they're presenting something they got planned for their.
Okay, also the joint management committee approved to spend $166,950 for engineering plans for an infill building at the Forest Industrial Park. The city will be paying for that cost. The estimates on how much that building will cost were given at $3 to $4 million. The city is working something with some business, I don't think we were given the name, to put this new business in where Indec currently is, in a city-owned building, and then the city would like to move Indec to this new connected forest industrial complex.
Is Henry maybe wanted to stay?
I don't think we were given a name. Do you remember, Randy?
No.
Yeah, I don't think we were shared that information. So that will be progressing. That's all I had for joint management, unless I'm forgetting something.
No, other than the reason for maybe increasing the size of that building is that they're more marketable, a larger building.
So we have had quite a few people interested in renting or purchasing.
Dowdy.
So let me ask this. That's great, happy that the city's paying for the architect or engineering, whatever, but where's the money gonna come from for the set of the building? Does anyone address that?
I think we would probably have to bond for it. There's not enough in the mining fund.
Are we kind of putting the cart in front of the horse?
I think the city has other plans.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, if they're paying for the.
That's fine, but I mean, if they got some funding, they got, what, I'm sorry. That didn't look like I wanted it to.
They must figure there's a good chance of whatever happening gonna happen if they're gonna put money out there.
That's great, they can, I just don't wanna go back and go on the hook for
We
it.
already spent the money, now you can split it with us.
Well, yeah, no, okay, we did this and now we need the county to come up with, I mean, if that's their thought, then they should be a little more forthright about it.
Anybody asked?
penitentiary.
I believe that was, I had to leave, I believe that was discussed in closed session.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No.
Get us out.
It was not,
Try and manage it, we don't need it. The last joint manager we had.
cause I had to leave.
Alan made a comment to me that the county will probably be receiving a proposal that the city buy us out of those 2 buildings.
Yes, and senior had told me and Caleb the same thing, yeah. Okay, so that's all for joint management, and then for the construction committee updates, Daniels and Venture will be here on Tuesday nights to update you before they do the public meetings the first week of April. If you guys haven't yet clicked through the website, please do that and use the contact form to send them any changes that you're requesting. And then we'll go over that Tuesday with them.
So anything that gets entered in that, suggestion box, they will discuss on Tuesday then?
They should, yes, unless it's like 1,000 things. I don't think we'll have time for that, but they might pick overarching feedback if you all target, 1 page or something like that. Is there something specific you would like addressed that I can? relay to them?
No, but if I did, I was wondering if it was gonna be addressed or not, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to date, I don't believe they've had any feedback from county board members.
Well, I did try clicking on it, and when, like I told you, it went black.
Have you tried clicking on the new one I sent?
No, that one today,
That one
that
works.
says jail project, yeah, that one
I
works.
Okay,
had
good.
an issue too, but then
But then
yeah,
it's a Wix thing, it keeps expiring it, so then she has to go back in and like reauthorize.
so it was, okay, so I
So
wasn't,
no, you
I
were
wasn't
not going
hallucinating,
crazy.
okay,
No,
cause
you
like I
weren't.
said, it
Oh,
was expired.
we
and
didn't
then
pay him enough.
Oh, is that?
Maybe
is
ask
that
him if
it?
we didn't pay him enough so that they could put up a working site right up from the get-go, I'm just curious. Honestly, that video, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't show that thing. I was not impressed.
With the video itself?
The video that they showed about the jail, I think that's cheesy.
I would bring it up on Tuesday night then.
I will.
Put it in the suggestion box on the website.
But I felt
Nobody's
the other
utilizing
night,
that.
he got very defensive when Phil and I started asking some questions, what's his name? Kurt?
Kurt? Mm-hmm.
I thought he got very defensive. And I don't think he's gonna last through a town hall if he's gonna take that stance, but that's fine, he can do whatever he wants.
I already said that.
I'll eat 'em alive.
The only thing was cheese. I didn't care what the outside looked like. I would've been out
It's
cold.
BS.
It looked like it was.
We're gonna put a park over across where we have a parking lot, no, we're not, there's gonna be a freaking parking lot. I mean, we're gonna put benches along the side, we're gonna hang flags on the side of it, no, it's a jail.
Let me forget.
It's a damn jail, it's not a structure that, it's, I don't even know how I wanna say it. It's not like what's going in the parking lot across the street, it's just a damn jail, it's gonna have a skyway over it. From one building to another, but anyway,
That's why we'll let the people,
I don't think people are gonna buy that video at all.
that's why we'll let the people.
But
take care of it.
you gotta think outside too. I think visualizing it is.
Mm-hmm. So you're not having to imagine it yourself.
People worry.
I think we just squash the whole thing. and
Maybe
say
I'm
no.
just being negative, I do that once in a while.
You need new batteries.
Okay.
I say we just tell them, you know what, we're gonna spend the $5 million to fix up all the buildings to like new condition, like we're told we've got.
Where are you gonna get that money? From the city or what?
Or were we gonna get 38 million?
Well, I don't know, but I agree with you.
I would
I'm
say
not-
if I wanted to bring up all these
I'm
buildings,
not-
highway, animal shelter, courthouse, up to like new condition.
I think Mold was talking, up to 6 to remodel this one, if I remember right,
No,
somewhere in there.
He's
But,
gonna pull it up and prove us wrong.
but Wold and Mark and Johnson were also in the 20s for a new jail, and we ended up all the way up into the 40s, so.
well, I should have stopped that.
But they weren't looking at it either from an architect standpoint, they were looking at it just, they were being kind enough to give us some figures when I asked them to.
Okay,
Continue.
okay. So the hospital and the nursing home site, is gone, it's been seeded, there's straw on it, I believe Gary has supervisor is going to, meet them out there for a site visit to go through the punch list. And then the update on 1101 and 1201 Lake Avenue is that, of course, the board authorized, the purchase of both of those lots in the building at 1101 for $1.6 million, so.
How much?
1.6 million, last week, that special meeting we had. So, Rich and I are going through the title process with the
Have we got
owners.
an appraisal on our hospital nursing home site yet?
No. Commercial appraisers are very difficult to wrangle, Tony.
What's that?
They're very difficult to wrangle, commercial appraisers.
Why is that?
They're like that you can't, there's like 2 in this whole area. Remember how long it took the joint management buildings to get appraised?
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
You have
So
an
how
appraisal
can you
done by
set
the
fair
county board
market
meeting?
value on?
I highly doubt it, no.
You'd have to wait for that appraisal.
Yep.
Well, I don't know, when's that gonna be?
Maybe in the fall.
In the
You'll
meantime,
have to come back.
Yeah, we'll have to come back and sit in the audience.
yeah, in the meantime, what are we gonna do, sit there and hold Rand's hand while he waits? Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah, it would seem kinda goofy for stalling that out.
Curious, you know.
Okay, Connie, anything from your department?
Government center jail
Ready?
repairs, $3,561,600.
Bill, look. That's the public records. So it's starting.
Oh.
So I have a meeting with him on Monday. So, we're getting there.
hang on a second, I gotta stop. Sorry. He just threw out a number here that's gonna get out in the public, and I want to, that 3.5 million, if I remember correctly, was not for remodeling the jail, it was for remodeling it into another
Government
useful
center
space.
/ jail repairs.
It was for remodeling it into a useful space if we built a jail. I don't recall us using that for mold.
Yes, we will.
I don't recall us discussing remodeling the jail. Now, I could be wrong,
No,
but I do not remember discussing remodeling the jail. It was refitting it.
Right.
And there was also discussion that it might be cheaper, the comment was made, to run a bulldozer through this whole west wing and start over,
Which doesn't seem
than
like.
to remodel this west
Cut it off.
wing. So there was a lot of options thrown out, so I don't want the public getting,
I'm
well,
just
we can
saying,
remodel
that's
the
to bring
jail for
it back
$3.5
up to
million
like
because.
new condition.
But that was, no, that, I don't recall, and I was a chair of the committee, I don't remember any.
That's what the report says is all.
I get what you're saying, but I do not
And if they gave us a
recall,
wrong report, then we should go after Wold and say, hey.
Wold was doing a building study. They were kind enough, I was able to talk them into giving us some rough numbers, so we had something to consider to go right, left, or straight ahead. It's the only reason I asked
We
them
went
for
straight
some
to the
numbers.
money.
And, yeah, and look where we're at, so blame it on me.
Okay.
But I
You got the
honestly
wheeler out
don't.
and you said, shovel the money in.
And maybe somebody can find somewhere, but I don't recall that being, I mean, it was probably brought up in discussion, but I don't remember them ever giving us a number. I mean, Tony and Randy were on that committee too,
It's in the
regarding
presentation.
remodeling the jail and redoing the building here for 3.5, I don't know.
It's in the presentation.
I have an electronic copy if you want it.
Well, then I understood differently than what they meant, and if that's what they meant, but I don't remember that being part of the conversation.
Well,
So I get that, Randy and
I
Tony.
get that we don't remember everything for meetings all the time, but this is the electronic copy.
Right, I get what you're saying, but there was a lot of discussion about what would we do with the second floor if we moved the jail out of it. And that was my understanding where that number came from. They talked about putting county board down on that end, they talked about making this a dispatch center, there was a whole bunch of crap thrown out during that whole process. That's what I took that number as, the jail would be out of here, and that was remodel the jail area, turn that into other useful space. And then it went into, I said, well, then Mark and Johnson was here that day, I remember this, and I said, well, wouldn't it be cheaper? And he started throwing out some numbers per square foot for remodeling numbers, and then demolition numbers, and I'm like, well, it'd be cheaper. Why you gotta do that to me? Why?
You did something, you poked me earlier. Step back.
Now you have to get me all fired up.
Oh, we're gearing up for April 2nd elections.
Tony's gonna be a write-in?
Yeah.
We don't wanna get out of here too.
Might as well forget that.
Okay, that's about it then?
Yeah.
Jamie, you have any?
Not really, that
Or
was
sales
already
taxes?
covered. Yeah, so I did update that amount, the amount Verna had was right, I grabbed the wrong number from, when I was.
You had my hopes all up that we
Yeah,
got a whole bunch
sorry.
of money there.
No, I grabbed the wrong number from the sales tax report that got sent out. So at the next finance committee meeting, and I know that, you know, we're not gonna have all the same committee, but Justin from Baird would like to come present on, jail financing. And he is unable to make a 3 o'clock meeting.
So I have a question, what day is your meeting?
It's scheduled for April 18th.
Okay, so, we're barely gonna have these committees. I mean, do you wanna do that? That would be my question, Jill and I were talking about that today.
And if I may make a suggestion, brand new committee, whoever that may be, do we wanna throw a Baird presentation at them right out of the gate? I would say
Not
no.
a good idea.
Not my idea, anyway.
You got election of officers and everything else that
Let them
day.
get their feet right in the water.
Yeah, we were just thinking for timeline of when the vote for the jail is going to come to county board.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long time coming.
That's true. Jeremy, people might shut that down anyway, you might not even in the first place, so, I don't know.
It's very true.
My suggestion would be move it back to May at the earliest.
You gotta remember too, you know, you can get plans for jail with a 50% time before you go. Majority bonding takes 75%, so.
Okay.
See what it's worth. Anything else?
So is this your last finance meeting?
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony,
You guys have, enjoy your next meeting.
Thanks, Randy.
Yes, thank you, Randy. You've been very good. I've learned a lot with you as the chair of this committee for seriously.
I've learned a lot over the years, it's one that they're still learning.
Your wealth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff, you're gonna be missed.
Appreciate your thoughts. Okay, anything else? Future committee meetings, is that on the same date?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
So you want on April 18th then?
yeah, and then I guess we'll stick with 3 o'clock.
I would say,
Might as well, if that's the way
start
we're
there
doing
in the next
that.
committee.
They can always change it.
Go
Kinda
from
vote on
there.
how they wanna go with that.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
Are you gonna do the agenda this time? That's good.
So if there's nothing further, we will stand adjourned.
Do I email right now?
Sorry, Jim. He's still got enough of these.
Really, you wait till the meeting's over to bring it, now you're really
I'm too
serious.
busy getting you fired up. Don't even sign them.
Oh, you're funny.